Chapter 163. After the introductions, Ning Cheng came to know that the old man was called Tao Xiaomao, while the young man was called Tao Yuan. Both father and son were very enthusiastic. Not only did they give Ning Cheng medicine, but they also invited Ning Cheng to sit in their beast carriage. After Ning Cheng got on the carriage, the driver was replaced by the young Tao Yuan. Inside the beast carriage, Ning Cheng was still using his cultivation technique to heal himself. The Tao father and son were both ordinary people. They had never cultivated before, so they were completely unaware of the fluctuations of the surrounding spirit qi. Ning Cheng had closed his eyes to rest. As such, Tao Xiaomao also tactfully did not look for Ning Cheng to speak. 2 hours later, Ning Cheng felt that his injuries had gradually eased up, while at the same time slowly began to improve. Only then did he calm down. As his injuries improved, Ning Cheng also opened his eyes and politely asked, "Uncle Tao, I heard people say that there is a cultivator army in the Yixing Ocean, and that these cultivator armies recruit soldiers. Is that true?" Tao Xiaomao nodded his head and replied, "That's right, the biggest recruitment station is the Shihai city that you mentioned before. There is also a cultivator army stationed in the Taiwan Sea town, and our clear light stones are actually made for the cultivator army. We will sell these clear light stones to merchants, who will then send these things to the cultivator army." Ning Cheng came to understand, the cultivator army had to fight in the Yixing Ocean all year round. As such, they had to arrange a variety of illuminating array formations. As such, what they needed the most was the clear light stones. Tao Xiaomao, on seeing Ning Cheng, suddenly understood, hesitated for a moment and spoke. "If you do not have a good place to go, then you can come with us to dig out the clear light stones." He would make a few trips a year, and each trip would earn him 100 or 200 gold coins. It's just that it's a little dangerous, and we'll occasionally encounter bandits along the way. "Thank you, Uncle Tao. I still want to join the caravan. When I get to the Taiwan Sea town, I will see if I have the opportunity to join some caravans to go out to sea. That way, we might be able to earn more." Listening to Ning Cheng's words, Tao Xiaomao gave a dark sigh in his heart, but did not try to persuade him. He knew the danger of traveling with the caravan. It was countless times more dangerous than selling the illumination stones with him. Ning Cheng and him were neither relatives nor friends. He was just a passerby. As such, he could not persuade him. The beast carriage didn't move very fast, but it wasn't slow either. The father and son of the Tao family took turns driving the carriage. They only ate some ordinary dry rations along the way. For days later, the beast carriage entered a bustling town. There were all kinds of people dressed up outside the town, and most of them had a travel-worn aura. Most of them were adventurers who were dressed rather valiantly, and some ordinary cultivators. There were also many people who drove beast carriages like the Tao father and son. A fishy smell came from the sea. Ning Cheng knew that he should be close to the Yixing Ocean. Although his injuries were recovering slowly, but he was still close to the strength of the true condensation realm. The cultivators he saw here all had low cultivation levels, so he didn't need to worry. "Brother Xiaocheng, this is already the Taiwan Sea town. My father and I are going to sell these illumination stones. If you want to find a merchant group, you can come with us. There are many caravans in the Chamber of Commerce, and these caravans collect a variety of things. Moreover, these caravans also often recruit some manpower." Tao Yuan was a dull person, but after becoming familiar with Ning Cheng, he became very enthusiastic. "Then many thanks, Brother Tao." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him, while simultaneously taking out 20 gold coins and handing it to Tao Xiaomao. It was not that he did not want to come up with more gold coins, but he was now an ordinary person. Even his cultivation level was concealed. Moreover, he still had to look for a merchant group to make a fortune. Once he came up with more gold coins, it would only make people doubt him. Tao Xiaomao was not willing to accept Ning Cheng's gold coins, and said that his beast carriage was only used to transport goods, and to bring Ning Cheng to the Taiwan Sea town was just along the way. If he accepted the gold coins, then it would really be too unkind. Ning Cheng could only put away the gold coins, and followed the Tao father and son along the long street of the Taiwan Sea town towards the place where the caravans gathered. The beast carriage did not walk for long, before it stopped in front of a tall gatehouse. Tao Xiaomao took out a wooden sign, and respectfully handed it to a guard at the gate. The guard looked at the wooden sign, and returned the wooden sign to Tao Xiaomao, and then waved his hand at Tao Xiaomao. Tao Xiaomao dared to pull the beast carriage into the tall gatehouse, and Ning Cheng also followed the beast carriage inside. After entering the gatehouse, Tao Xiaomao pointed to a row of tall and magnificent buildings in front of him and said to Ning Cheng, "Little brother Ning, that is where the major caravans of the Taiwan Sea Town are stationed. If you want to find a caravan to join, then you can go in and try your luck. I want to take my son to hand over the clear light stones." Ning Cheng had already seen the big sign in front of him, which had the words Taiwan Chamber of Commerce written on it. He quickly thanked the Tao father and son, and then bid farewell to the Tao father and son, and entered the Taiwan Chamber of Commerce. The Taiwan Chamber of Commerce was not a single one, but rather the entire Taiwan Sea Town's Chamber of Commerce. After entering inside, Ning Cheng even had a kind of feeling as if he had entered a certain business hall in the later generations of Earth. There were a variety of names of caravans here, and at the place where each caravan was stationed, there was a sign erected. In front of some of the caravans, there were even some introductions and notices of recruitment. Ning Cheng looked all the way, and found that none of the caravans were going to the Hua continent, and almost all of them were going to a place called Pubu Island. Ning Cheng called out to a man who was also looking at the notice, and politely cupped his fists and asked, "Friend, I want to join a relatively large caravan, but how come none of the caravans here are going to the Hua continent?" "Do you want to go to the Hua continent?" The man stared at Ning Cheng in shock and asked. Ning Cheng quickly said, "No, I just want to join a relatively large caravan. I do not know which caravan is big, but I heard that in the Yixing Ocean, there are some big caravans that can even cross continents. I think that the ones that can cross continents are definitely the big caravans." The man listened to Ning Cheng's explanation, and laughed and said, "The Taiwan Sea Town's caravans are all going to the Pubu Island. Only the caravans from the Pubu Island and the Shihai City can go to the Hua continent. You should have just arrived in the Taiwan Sea Town, right?" Yes, I just arrived here. I have a bit of strength. I originally wanted to go to the Shihai City to join the cultivator army, but I did not think that the Shihai City was too far away, so I had to come to the Taiwan Sea Town." Ning Cheng quickly replied. "Are you a cultivator?" When the man heard that Ning Cheng was a cultivator, he immediately showed a respectful expression. Ning Cheng immediately said, "I can't be regarded as a cultivator. My cultivation is very low, only at the qi-gathering realm." He had heard that Ning Cheng was only a qi-gathering cultivator. Moreover, speaking in such a kind manner, he estimated that he was only at the qi-gathering first or second level. The man secretly sighed, and said, "Even an early-stage qi-gathering cultivator can join the cultivator army. In fact, apart from the Shihai City, the Pubu Island also needs to recruit cultivators. Many of the qi-gathering cultivators join the caravans to go to the Pubu Island, and then join the cultivator army." "That would be great. I will first go to the Pubu Island to try my luck. If it really doesn't work, then I will simply join the caravans," Ning Cheng said with a happy expression. He was very disappointed in his heart. If there was a caravan that could go directly to the Hua continent, then it would be the best for him. After thanking the man, Ning Cheng casually looked for a caravan called Flying Sea and walked in. He saw from the notice outside the Flying Sea caravan that this caravan would leave the Taiwan Sea Town tomorrow and go to the Pubu Island. Since the caravans here could not go directly to the Hua continent, then he casually looked for one. There was no difference. The Flying Sea caravan station here was not very big, and there was only a woman sitting inside. This woman looked like she was in her 20s, and had a trace of the smell of the sea on her body. With just a glance one could tell that she was a person who walked in the sea all year round. She was sitting on a wooden chair and seemed to be in a daze. After Ning Cheng came in, he did not know if she was not aware of it, or if she was aware of it, but simply did not care about it, and was still thinking about her own matters. This was a woman with good facial features, and was not ugly to look at. But what made Ning Cheng surprised was that she unexpectedly had the cultivation of true condensation 9th level. Originally Ning Cheng thought that these caravans were just ordinary people walking around. But he did not expect that when he walked into the first caravan, he would see a true condensation 9th level cultivator. "Excuse me." Ning Cheng had just spoken 2 words, when this true condensation 9th level cultivator turned around and asked in a cold voice, "What do you want?" "I heard that the flying sea caravan is lacking in manpower. I came to apply for." This time Ning Cheng was still not able to finish his words, when he was once again interrupted. But this time the one who interrupted Ning Cheng was not this true condensation 9th level cultivator, but a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man hurriedly ran in and bowed to the woman and said, "Esteemed Zhuang, the ship has arrived." Hearing that the ship had arrived, the woman stood up and said, "Since the ship has arrived, then let's set off tonight." Yes, yes. Although this middle-aged man said yes, but his face showed some embarrassment. The woman surnamed Zhuang said in a light voice, "I know that you still want to recruit people, but now it is too late. There is a crew member who came to apply for the job. Let's take him with us. If there are any losses caused by the lack of manpower, then I, Zhuangya, will bear it alone." I dare not. The middle-aged man finished, and quickly bowed to let the woman called Zhuangya go out first. After the woman walked far away, the middle-aged man wiped the sweat from his forehead and began to observe Ning Cheng. After a while he asked, "Do you want to join the flying sea caravan? What is your name?" "I am called Ning Xiaocheng. I heard that the flying sea caravan wanted to recruit crew members, so I hurried over." Ning Cheng immediately replied. The middle-aged man nodded and asked, "How is your strength?" Ning Cheng quickly made a muscle movement and said, "I am definitely a strong man. In our village, many little girls like me because of my great strength." The middle-aged man laughed at Ning Cheng's words and said, "Well, then it is you. My name is Shen Yu. From now on you can call me Deacon Shen." Temporary crew members with the flying sea caravan will be paid 1,000 gold coins for each trip. This remuneration will be paid 10% first, 30% will be paid when we arrive at the Pubu Island, and the rest will be settled when we arrive at the Taiwan Sea town. "That's fine," Ning Cheng replied without hesitation. He did not think that it would be so easy for him to find a caravan heading to the Pubu Island. As for him not coming back, he would not be able to receive the 1,000 gold coins, which was completely ignored by Ning Cheng. Chapter 164. Ning Cheng was not a meddlesome person. He knew that this Zhuangya was not a simple person, but he simply did not ask about it. His purpose was to reach the Pubu Island. It had nothing to do with him who the others were. He followed Xinyu into the beast carriage, and soon arrived at the Yixing Ocean's pier. Ning Cheng had been to the Mingat Sea, but he had not been to the pier. Now that he saw the Taiwan Sea town's pier in the Yixing Ocean, he suddenly understood the meaning of a sentence, that is, running to the pier. This dock was really too big. There were all kinds of ships docked at the edge of the dock, and many people were moving things back and forth. A few cultivator soldiers dressed in uniform patrolled the edge of the pier. Compared to the various forces in the Mingat city, Ning Cheng felt that this Taiwan Sea town was much more stable. Xingyu brought Ning Cheng to the side of a large ship and spoke. "This is our ship. Do you see a lot of people moving things onto the ship? You can go and help out later. Once we're done moving those things, we'll set sail." "Where do I live?" Ning Cheng quickly asked. Xingyu pointed to the group of people who were moving things to the ship and said, "You can go with them later. Move things with them, go on the ship with them, and have a big room on the ship." Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. "Deacon Xing, I have mysophobia, and do not like to live with a lot of people in the same room. Can you get me a room? It doesn't matter even if it's a little smaller." Ning Cheng had just finished speaking this sentence. When he saw Xingyu frown, he immediately knew that this matter would not be easy to handle, and quickly spoke. "Deacon Xing, I do not want the 10% of the gold coins that I received earlier. Moreover, after arriving at the Pubu Island, I will also take out half of the gold coins. Take this as the referral fee for Manager Xing introducing me to the ship." Ning Cheng was just a porter crew member, yet he unexpectedly wanted a separate room, causing Xingyu to feel a little uncomfortable. But after listening to Ning Cheng's words, he nodded slightly, feeling that Ning Cheng still knew how to conduct himself. His impression of Ning Cheng was not bad. Now that Ning Cheng had spoken in such a manner, he directly spoke up. "There is a wind cabin at the stern of the ship, although it can block the wind, but when the ship is moving on the sea, the sound of the wind cannot be stopped. If you don't mind the noise, you can stay in that wind cabin." Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. Many thanks, Deacon Xing, I am willing. Deacon Xing patted Ning Cheng's shoulder and spoke. It is not easy to earn some gold coins from the sea. You said that you would give me a referral fee and keep it for yourself. Once you have saved enough gold coins, you can settle down in a stable city in the Jia continent. Seeing Deacon Xing leave, Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Even in such a dangerous place, there would always be good people. Ning Cheng began to follow the many crew members and started to carry the goods. These goods were not heavy in his hands. He used his spiritual sense to scan the area and found that there were some food and a lot of materials. The grade of the materials was not very high. They were probably used to refine low-level magic tools. No one felt strange about Ning Cheng joining them, as there were always people joining and leaving here all the time. When he was about to finish moving the pile of goods, Ning Cheng once again saw Zhuangya, but this time she was not alone, but with 5 people. Ning Cheng glanced at them, and immediately knew that these 5 people were all at true condensation 9th level. After these 5 people boarded the ship, they immediately entered the innermost VIP room of the ship. These 5 people had just boarded the ship, when Xingyu stood at the bow of the ship and shouted, "Hurry up and board the ship. The flying sea will immediately set sail." At this time, the pile of goods piled up on the pier had already been moved. Ning Cheng followed the group of porters and quickly boarded the ship. Ning Cheng had some doubts in his heart. He had applied to be a crew member, so it shouldn't be that he would have to carry a few things, and then wait until they reached the Pubu Island, and then move the things out, right? Xingyu deliberately brought Ning Cheng to the wind cabin at the stern of the ship, and took out a piece of paper and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, "You will live here from now on. The Flying Seas rowers will rotate every 5 days. You must remember the days of your rotation. Every 5 days, you will have to row the ship for a day. It is written very clearly on this paper." Row the ship? Ning Cheng knew that 1,000 gold coins would not be easy to earn, but he did not think that he would have to row the ship. Xingyu looked at Ning Cheng in surprise and said, "Of course I have to row the ship. Otherwise, do you think that 1,000 gold coins is so easy to earn? But you do not have to worry about it. This time there will be a few months of downwind. As such, the sails are full. As such, rowing the ship would not require much strength." "But I have never rowed a ship before?" Ning Cheng said with a bitter face. Xingyu laughed and said, "It is not the kind of rowing that you think, but rather a lot of people driving a rotary or to drive the speed of the ship. The Flying Sea Caravan currently does not have the strength to arrange an array formation to use spirit stones to drive the rotary, or it can only be achieved through manpower." When Ning Cheng heard this, he finally understood and said, "I understand." Xingyu nodded and said, "The dining area is in the dining cabin. You can live in this wind cabin first. If you really feel that you cannot adapt to it, you can come to me. Or you can directly move to the central cabin." "Many thanks, Deacon Xing, I understand." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him again. After Xingyu left, Ning Cheng finally had the free time to look at the wind cabin. There were many such wind cabins on this kind of ship. These cabins were designed for 2 purposes. One was to make the ship's structure more compact, and the other was to reduce wind resistance. Xingyu gave the wind cabin to Ning Cheng to live in, which was equivalent to opening a small back door. The wind cabin was generally not allowed to be blocked, but now that Ning Cheng lived in it, it must be blocked. The sound of the wind was tolerable, but he could not directly sleep in the wind, right? The wind cabin that he was in the shape of an oblique triangle, and had an area of about 5 square meters. For Ning Cheng, it was more than enough. The wind cabin was blocked. It seems that he was not the first person to live here. Now that the ship had just started, but the sound of the wind outside the wind cabin was already loud. One could imagine, once the ship moved at high speed in the deep sea, how loud would the sound of the wind cabin be? Ning Cheng did not care about it. He began to arrange an array formation. The first thing he arranged was a soundproof array formation. After the soundproof array formation was arranged, the sound of the wind outside the wind cabin completely disappeared. After that, Ning Cheng began to arrange an isolation array formation. There were 5 true condensation cultivators on the ship. If he wanted to cultivate, then he must isolate the spiritual chi from the outside. As for the spiritual gathering array formation, he did not arrange it. Once he arranged a spiritual gathering array formation, the movement would be too big. In addition to the isolation array formation, Ningcheng also arranged a warning array formation outside the wind cabin. Although Ningcheng was sure that no one would find him here, but he still felt that he had to be careful. Even if all the people on the ship added up, he would not care about them, but this place was not a simple place. This was the territory of the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. Once someone came to know that he, an essence-building cultivator, was hiding in an ordinary merchant ship, he would immediately be investigated. Not to mention that the status of that cultivator surnamed Kong in the Jia continent's cultivator army was definitely not low. Even if it was not the case, it would still take a few months for him to be investigated. His time was tight. How could he have the time to waste on such things? After arranging his own place, Ningcheng first took out a pile of spirit stones and began to cultivate while healing his injuries. With so many spirit stones, moreover they were all high-grade spirit stones, under Ningcheng's cultivation, the wind cabin soon formed a mist of spirit stones. Ningcheng's injuries under the help of the spiritual qi and the mysterious yellow origin quickly recovered, while his cultivation also rapidly rose. 5 days passed by in a flash. Ningcheng's injuries had already recovered by more than half, and his cultivation was also steadily rising. He knew that today should be the day for him to row the ship, so he put away the array flags and the spirit stones in the wind cabin, and walked out of the wind cabin. After reaching the position of rowing the ship, Ningcheng came to know that rowing the ship was a bit monotonous, but in fact it was more comfortable than moving things. He just had to sit in a fixed position and shake the handle at a certain interval. He looked around and found that he was not the only one rowing the ship, but all the people were doing the same movements. For ordinary people, this kind of movement was the most boring and unbearable. But for Ningcheng, it really was nothing, so he began to use the rowing time to heal his injuries. Time passed by very quickly, and in a blink of an eye, Ningcheng had already spent half a month on this ship. In this half a month, besides cultivating, he was also cultivating. His injuries had already completely recovered, and his cultivation had also reached the peak of essence building first level. With the terrifying amount of spirit stones, Ningcheng's progress was really too fast. After another half a month passed by, Ningcheng broke through the barrier of essence building first level and advanced to essence building second level. His strength once again soared. He decided to temporarily stop cultivating and began to learn alchemy. He had 3 pill furnaces. One was obtained from the bet with Gui Yutang, and the other 2 were obtained from the essence spirit ring. The pill furnace that he obtained from the bet with Gui Yutang was rusty. Ningcheng could not see what it was. Even if it was not a pill furnace, he was not even clear. This pill furnace could not be refined, nor could it be investigated. But the 2 pill furnaces that he obtained from the essence spirit ring made Ningcheng very happy. One was a medium-grade spiritual artifact. Although Ningcheng did not know why the essence spirit with such a high cultivation level would put a medium-grade spiritual artifact pill furnace in the essence spirit ring, but for him, it could not be any better. The other pill furnace turned out to be a best quality true artifact. Even Ningcheng was not able to refine this true artifact pill furnace. But to Ningcheng's disappointment, he was not cut out for alchemy. After 5 days, he could not even refine a single level 1 ordinary pill, not to mention a true pill or a profound pill. That old woman had given him the basics of alchemy. He had also repeatedly looked at it, and even scrutinized the details of it several times. Ningcheng was sure that he had completely grasped the theoretical knowledge, but when it came to alchemy, he was still lacking that final step. Wasting countless spiritual grasses, he was still not able to refine a single level 1 ordinary pill. Today was also the day that Ningcheng would row the boat. Ningcheng put away the things in the wind cabin, and just as he came out of the wind cabin, he felt the hull of the boat shake, and then the hull of the boat violently shook, and then began to tilt. Ningcheng immediately swept out with his spiritual consciousness. After experiencing this for more than a month, he knew that it was relatively safe to walk in this part of the sea. This kind of situation was the first time in more than a month. Ningcheng quickly saw what was going on. It turned out to be a few traders. Of the 5 true condensation cultivators who had boarded the boat before, at this time 3 of them were stirring up trouble underwater. The hull of the boat was shaking violently, to the point that it was about to capsize. It was the doing of those 3 true condensation cultivators. Chapter 165. Everyone, do not panic. Our esteemed deacon has already gone into the sea to arrange an array formation. We will soon be able to control the ship. Deacon Xingyu, who had brought Ning Cheng aboard the ship, hurriedly stood at the bow of the ship and shouted. Fortunately, Deacon still had some prestige among all the crew members. Hearing his shout, the crew members on the ship quickly quietened down. They all grabbed the railings and tried to stabilize their bodies. Ning Cheng saw the woman called Zhuangye and another true condensation cultivator appear at the bow of the ship, while the two of them were constantly throwing out a variety of array flags. Sure enough, as the two of them continued to throw out array flags, the rocking ship gradually stabilized. Finally, it came to a stop, with only some slight shaking. Ning Cheng looked at the array flags that had been thrown out, and shook his head speechlessly. How was this an array formation? It was simply a random throw. But after these two people threw out the array flags, the three true condensation cultivators in the sea stopped shaking the ship, and climbed up from the sea. As for the slight shaking of the boat, it was caused by someone placing an array disc at the bottom of the boat. This ship was filled with food and the lowest level of materials. Did Ning Cheng not know what these cultivators wanted to do? Not to mention that this ship wasn't worth robbing. Even if they wanted to rob it, they didn't need to take off their pants and fart like this. With 5 true condensation cultivators, they could easily take away this ship. At this time, the several deacons and the person in charge of the ship had already arrived at the bow of the ship. Even the 3 true condensation cultivators who had crawled up from the bottom of the sea also came to the bow of the ship, but at this time their faces looked a bit pale. The people on the ship all thought that they had used up too much energy to set up the formation. A few deacons and people in charge came forward to thank them. A true condensation 9th level long-haired man waved his hand, and spoke with a dignified expression on his face. This is what we should do, but there is a tidal whirlpool here. Although we arranged an array formation to temporarily control the ship, but it would not last for long. Once the tidal vortex breaks our formation, we'll be in danger. What should we do? One of the ship's attendants asked in a panic. They had encountered tidal whirlpools before. Once they encountered a tidal whirlpool, capsizing was a common occurrence. The long-haired man also frowned and did not reply for a long time. Next to him was a slightly chubby man at the true condensation 9th level and spoke up. This array formation can last for at least 48 hours. As long as we can obtain the materials needed to refine the array flags within these 48 hours, then we can reinforce this array formation, and we can then survive this tidal maelstrom. The woman named Zhuangye also frowned and said, "This is the sea. Where can we find the materials to refine the array flags? I know that there is a small island in the vicinity, but I do not know if that island has the materials that Elder Brother Pang needs to refine the array flags." The one who spoke was the same as Zhuangye, the other true condensation cultivator. Yes, I also remember that there is an island nearby, but... One of the deacons clearly thought of the island nearby, but then he seemed to remember something extremely terrifying, and his expression changed slightly. Xingyu said with a worried look on his face, "Esteemed consecrators, I also know of that island. In the past, we have sailed by that island. But in the last year, that island has suddenly been covered with a thin layer of fog. There was a caravan that passed through that island, and even sent people up there." Speaking till here, Xingyu hesitated for a moment, and then continued, "The people who went up there did not come down, and afterwards no one went up there again." The long-haired true condensation cultivator waved his hand and said, "You can rest assured about this. There might be some low-leveled monstrous beasts on the island, with the 5 of us going up there at the same time. Even if it was a powerful sea demon, it would not be surprising. Since this matter is settled, Deacon Xing, you can find 50 people to come with us to the island to look for the materials needed to refine the array flags. We do not have much time. If we do not think of a way, then staying here would only result in capsizing and losing our lives." The other true condensation cultivators also nodded in agreement and said, "That is also true. We would only need at most 2 days to come and go. I think we should be able to make it in time." After Xingyu discussed with the several people in charge of the ship, he reluctantly agreed and said, "Then let's choose 50 crew members. I ask the esteemed consecrators." The short and stout true condensation cultivator said with some impatience, You can rest assured, with the 5 of us going up to the island, how could there be any accident? When Ning Cheng heard that they wanted to choose people, he immediately retreated. He guessed that there should be something on the island, which made these true condensation cultivators think of this method. Looking for people to go up to the island. Perhaps it was to do hard labor. He had just come out from the Angry Axe Valley. As such, the things that these true condensation cultivators were interested in, he really did not put them in his eyes, so he simply did not want to go up there. Moreover, he did not want to do hard labor. You are also one. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that he had just retreated a few steps, when that short and stout true condensation cultivator saw him, as he directly pointed at Ning Cheng and said. Ning Cheng was helpless, and had to stand up. The 50 people were quickly selected, together with the 5 true condensation cultivators. A total of 55 people boarded a small boat, and left the big ship. The few true condensation cultivators, while pretending to throw out some array flags on the ship. Ning Cheng was speechless, and simply closed his eyes to rest. The island was really not too far away. The small boat only took less than 2 hours to reach the edge of the island. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness. Unexpectedly, he felt a strange life force being absorbed. The center of the island was shrouded in mist. Even his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it. The small boat stopped at the edge of the island, but the scene on the edge of the island made the scalp of all the crew members on the boat tingle. The edge of the island was covered with all kinds of bones. It was a dense white. Many of the bones were washed up by the waves on the island, forming piles of bones. Ning Cheng's eyes swept over these bones. In addition to some low-leveled sea beasts and fish, there were also many human bones. The 5 true condensation cultivators were already on the island, but the seafarers were timid and did not dare to go up. The short and stout true condensation cultivator suddenly bared his teeth and said, "If you follow the few of us cultivators to the island to look for materials, then you will certainly not have any problems. After we go up, there will be no one to protect you. If you stay here, then there would be a problem." Hearing the threat of the short and stout cultivator, the seafarers on the ship quickly rushed up to the island. Finally, only Ning Cheng stayed on the ship. "You are not going up?" That short and stout cultivator stared at Ning Cheng and asked. He knew Ning Cheng. Previously, when they were on the ship, he had tried to slip away, but was forcibly pulled by him, and now he was the last one to hide. Ning Cheng quickly stood up and said, "I am afraid that the ship would be swept away by the waves, and then when we go back there would not be a ship, so I plan to slip away from here and look after the ship." The short and stout cultivator gave a sinister smile, and was just about to speak, when he heard the female cultivator called Zhuangya speak up. "If he does not want to go up, then he will not go up. We also need someone to look after the ship. The number of people is almost enough." "All right." The short and stout cultivator stared at Ning Cheng, then waved his hand, and quickly disappeared into the depths of the island with the rest of the people. Ning Cheng left the ship at the edge of the island, and also set foot on the island alone. He slowly stretched out his spiritual consciousness, and could feel the life force binding him. It made him feel that this island was not simple at all. It was just that this island was so lacking in spiritual chi, that he really could not think of anything good. When he turned his spiritual consciousness back, he wanted to find the more than 50 people who had just left, but found that the more than 50 people seemed to have disappeared from this place. There was no trace of them at all. Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. He immediately followed the direction in which the people had disappeared. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng stopped in front of a rocky beach. There was an entrance in the middle of this rocky beach, and there were some array flags outside the entrance. There really was someone who understood array formations. Moreover, his level of array formations was not low. When Ning Cheng saw these array flags, he knew that these array flags were definitely arranged by a person who was proficient in array formations. As he walked through the entrance, a bloody smell immediately spread out. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness immediately saw a corpse. He knew this corpse. It was the crew member who had just arrived on the island. Ning Cheng first withdrew from the rocky beach entrance, and once again swept out with his spiritual consciousness, but soon his face turned cold. This place turned out to be a natural killing array. Moreover, the level was not low. When he had come here a moment ago, he could not even see it. Among these 5 true condensation cultivators, someone could recognize this natural killing array, and could even use the array flags to open the entrance. This person was definitely an array formation master who was even more powerful than him. No wonder there were so many corpses on this island. It turned out that these people were killed by the natural killing array. It was not easy to find a natural killing array, but to break this natural killing array, it was even more difficult. But among these evil arrays, there was a straightforward way to break them, and that was the blood sacrifice method. The blood sacrifice method to break the natural killing array was an extremely cruel method. It was to leave behind a living person as a sacrifice to the array flags of the natural killing array. That seafarer's corpse a moment ago was obviously the first person to be sacrificed to the array flags. The killing intent in Ning Cheng's heart soared. He simply could not stand this kind of thing. He had thought that these people brought these seafarers here to do hard labor to dig things up, but now it seems that this was not the case at all. If he had known that these people would be used as a sacrifice to the array flags, then Ning Cheng would have already secretly killed these 5 true condensation cultivators. These seafarers were just some ordinary people, and had the same status as him, who relied on their hard work on the ship to earn some blood and sweat coins. But he did not think that in front of these cultivators, their small lives were nothing. Ning Cheng sped up and rushed in, but he soon stopped. He had already seen 49 corpses. In other words, the blood sacrifice method had already been completed. Ning Cheng calmed down. His spiritual consciousness was once again blocked. At the same time he checked his position. This was a dark and damp reef passage under the island. The passage was full of twists and turns, and was deathly still. Those 5 true condensation cultivators simply could not even see their shadows. But Ning Cheng could feel that this passage was indeed opened because of the 49 seafarers' blood sacrifice method. Bang! A loud explosion came from the end of the passage. The next moment a huge, irregular natural rock hall appeared in the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng did not hesitate for even half a moment, as his body flashed and landed inside this natural rock hall. Chapter 166. The rock hall was full of potholes, and the surrounding stone walls were also irregular. Some huge sharp stalagmites hung upside down, making people wonder if these stalagmites could hit their heads at any time. In the middle of the hall, there was a circular pool. Unlike the irregular rock temple and the irregular stalagmites hanging down from the top of the rock temple, this pool was round and smooth. This kind of roundness seemed to be drawn with the most standard round drawing tool. There was a pair of milky white leaves floating in the middle of the pool. This pair of leaves was supported by the mist in the pool, as if they had grown out of the pool. The leaves were also emitting a faint golden glow. From time to time, the stalagmites above the pond would drip some milky white stalagmite liquid, which all fell into the pond. Was this the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves? Ning Cheng almost called out. He knew about this thing. It could be said that even though he had obtained many things in the Angry Axe Valley, they were not necessarily as precious as these 2 leaves. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves were not spirit medicines. Strictly speaking, it could be considered as an artifact refining material, but it could not be completely regarded as an artifact refining material. This was because the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves could be used to refine a flight-type magic weapon. A flight-type magic weapon refined from the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves was absolutely a priceless treasure. However, no one would be stupid enough to use the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves to refine a flight-type artifact. The most important feature of the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves was that it could be refined into a pair of wings. After a cultivator obtained a matured twin radiant heavenly cloud leaf, they could refine it and hide it on their back. In this way, he could stimulate the heavenly cloud wings on his back to fly at any time, as if he had grown a pair of wings. Flying on a flying sword and using an ordinary magical weapon to fly, compared to the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, were simply too weak. 3 gazes shot towards him, causing Ning Cheng to sober up from his joy. There were still other people here. Ning Cheng's gaze swept through the rocky temple. Of the 5 people who had just come in, 2 of them had already fallen to the ground. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out, and immediately knew that these 2 people had already lost their auras. At the same time, from the wounds of these 2 people, Ning Cheng could also judge that these two people should have been sneak attacked by their companions. The remaining three people were the long-haired cultivator and Zhuangya, as well as the short and stout cultivator who was very unhappy with Ning Cheng. At this time, the three of them each stood on one side, vigilantly watching each other. No one dared to snatch the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Now that Ning Cheng came in, it immediately broke the deadlock, causing the three of them to look at Ning Cheng together. "How can you come here?" The long-haired cultivator stared at Ning Cheng and asked in a cold voice. At the same time, his spiritual sense swept out towards Ning Cheng. The short and fat cultivator chuckled and said, "This guy is very smart. He must have seen the hole and followed us in." As he spoke, the smile on the chubby cultivator's face slowly disappeared. He also felt that something was wrong. If Ning Cheng was an ordinary person, then after seeing so many corpses along the way, how could he still dare to come in? Zhuangya did not speak, but just stared at Ning Cheng. The three of them used their spiritual senses to sweep around Ning Cheng, but still could not see Ning Cheng's cultivation. "You go and pick those 2 leaves." The pudgy cultivator looked at Ning Cheng for a long time, and found that Ning Cheng was really just an ordinary cultivator. He frowned and tried to probe him. The long-haired cultivator's vigilant eyes gradually relaxed. He was confident that he could see through Ning Cheng's cultivation. Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation, and was only a cultivator at the late stages of the qi-gathering realm. When he found that Zhuangya and the short and fat cultivator were observing Ning Cheng, he suddenly sent a sound transmission to the two of them. "This person should not be an ordinary person. Let's sneak attack him together." "Good." Zhuangya said the word "good," and immediately shot out a black light. This black light directly rushed towards Ning Cheng. The long-haired cultivator also made his move at the same time, but the target of his attack was Zhuangya. Boom! A burst of true essence resounded in the rock temple, as the long-haired cultivator and Zhuangya's magical weapons collided. The long-haired cultivator did not think that Zhuangya would not only attack Ning Cheng, but also attack him. Because Zhuangya attacked Ning Cheng and the long-haired cultivator at the same time, her true essence was insufficient, and was directly pushed back a few steps by the long-haired cultivator. Not waiting for her to recover, the several rays of light shot out by the short and fat cultivator had already penetrated Zhuangya's body. Zhuangya could not believe it and looked back at the short and fat cultivator. "Guang Yucheng, why did you attack me?" The short and fat cultivator spoke without any expression on his face. "You wanted to kill my elder brother. How could I not attack you?" "Peng Yuza, is he your elder brother?" Zhuangya stared at the long-haired cultivator, as if she could not believe the result. However, she did not need the long-haired cultivator to answer, as she already knew that this short and fat cultivator was telling the truth. Peng Yuza, Guang Yucheng, what else did she need to explain? Guang Yucheng simply ignored the sneak attack on Zhuangya, and still squinted at Ning Cheng and said, "Kid, did you not hear what I said a moment ago? Hurry up." He could also vaguely see that Ning Cheng seemed to only have the cultivation of qi-gathering realm. Besides, how could an expert sleep in the same bunk every day, and become a crew member rowing a boat? Ning Cheng spoke in a light voice. "This pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves has not yet fully matured. It would be a waste to pick them up at this time. Wait for a period of time, then you can pick them up and refine them." As soon as Ning Cheng's words came out, the three people simultaneously stared at Ning Cheng. Even Zhuangya, who was seriously injured and on the verge of death, could not believe what she had just heard. "You know about the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves? Who are you? Did you deliberately follow us here?" The short and fat cultivator once again asked a single sentence. He should be a qi-gathering cultivator, so it is not strange for him to know about the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. The long-haired cultivator calmly said. When the short and fat cultivator heard these words, he could no longer bear it, and directly threw a punch towards Ning Cheng, while his mouth said, "Then die for me." Ning Cheng stood there without moving, as he casually lifted his hand and punched out. The formidable axe intent directly disintegrated the imposing manner of the short and fat cultivator in the air, but the axe intent fist shadow did not even slow down for half a moment. It completely exploded on the body of the short and fat cultivator, causing a bloody mist to burst out. This short and fat cultivator, did not even have the chance to groan, as he was directly killed by Ning Cheng's punch. This scene made the long-haired cultivator completely sluggish. How was this a chi-gathering cultivator? Even if it was an essence-building cultivator, they would not necessarily be able to turn a true condensation 9th-level cultivator into a bloody mist with just a punch. Senior, spare. The long-haired cultivator hadn't even finished begging for mercy when Ning Cheng punched him to death. Zhuangya stared at Ning Cheng. At this time she finally understood how powerful Ning Cheng was. This kind of cultivation was absolutely above the peak of essence-building realm. She saw Ning Cheng's gaze sweep towards her, and the corners of her mouth curled up into a sad smile. Many thanks to Senior for helping me take revenge. As soon as she finished speaking, her true essence forcefully tore her meridians and dantian apart, and she died instantly. Regarding the deaths of these people, Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of sympathy. After burning the corpse with a few flames, Ning Cheng began to feel tangled. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had not yet matured. Should he pick it up and take it away? The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had a specific growth environment. It was a natural spirit treasure. Once it was moved, it could not continue to grow. Ning Cheng thought about it again and again, and decided to continue to stay here and wait for the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves to mature. This kind of opportunity was something that he would never be able to encounter in his lifetime. If he just casually took away the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves that had not matured yet, he would be too unwilling. What's more, he had also read in the ancient book that after the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves matured and was refined, there was still room for advancement. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng cleared away all the traces outside, and once again returned to this place. He believed that if he stayed here and waited for the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves to mature, then he would be able to find the Pubu Island by himself. It would even be faster than when he was inside the big ship. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves needed to grow. The more abundant the spiritual chi, the better. Ning Cheng threw out several tens of thousands of high-grade spirit stones into the pool, and arranged a spiritual gathering array. After observing for a long time, Ning Cheng found that even with this method, the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves still did not absorb the spiritual chi quickly. He remembered the scene of his own cultivation, when he was cultivating in the Angry Axe Valley. All those spirit stones were turned into spiritual chi fog by him. Perhaps this kind of spiritual chi fog was more suitable for the growth of the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Ning Cheng thought until here, and immediately took out 500 to 600,000 high-grade spirit stones, and covered the entire rock temple. On the ship he did not dare to cultivate, but here he did not have such scruples. As Ning Cheng entered into a state of cultivation, the rock temple soon formed into a fog. Ning Cheng and the things inside the rock temple were completely surrounded by this spiritual chi fog. Ning Cheng also gradually put the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves to one side, and wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves in the midst of the thick spiritual chi fog were emitting a golden glow that was getting brighter and brighter, but Ning Cheng did not notice this at all. The rich spiritual chi fog was completely absorbed by Ning Cheng, and transformed into his own true essence, which then rushed into his meridians and apertures. Ning Cheng's cultivation was unknowingly constantly improving. Originally Ning Cheng had only intended to cultivate for half a month before leaving, but after cultivating for nearly a month, he was still crazily absorbing the spiritual chi in his cultivation. But he was already at the late stages of essence building 3rd level. With the improvement of his cultivation, the speed at which he absorbed the spiritual chi was also getting faster and faster. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, under the urging of the spiritual chi fog, had already matured a long time ago, and even the faint glow of the spiritual chi fog had already concealed itself, but Ning Cheng was still not aware of it. Another half a month passed by. Ning Cheng felt that his cultivation had once again reached a critical point. As such, he immediately opened all of his apertures to absorb the spiritual chi. Countless spirit stones, under Ning Cheng's cultivation, turned into powder. When Ning Cheng felt his sea of consciousness shake, it issued a slight crisp sound, causing him to fiercely open his eyes. The gurgling true essence had already formed into a substance, and was flowing through his wide meridians. As he once again swept out with his spiritual consciousness, The surroundings were incomparably clear. A burst of faint rumbling sound could be heard, but Ningqing did not care about it at all, as he happily stood up and said to himself, "I'm already at the intermediate stage of essence-building realm. Even those geniuses' cultivation speed is only at this level." At this time the rumbling sound was getting louder and louder. It was accompanied by an incomparably mournful murderous sound. Ningqing finally felt that something was wrong. This kind of sound did not originate from this deserted island. Chapter 167. Bang! A violent shaking sound arrived. Ningqing could feel the ground under his feet trembling. This natural array formation seemed to have been destroyed, allowing his spiritual consciousness to suddenly penetrate through the underground rock temple. When he saw the scene, he was immediately shocked to the point that he could not speak a single word. War, this was a real war. Densely packed monstrous beasts and cultivators were fighting against each other. Ningqing immediately knew that the Yixing Ocean's war had once again broken out. Moreover, this time it had even reached the inner sea. Of the two sides fighting, one side was a combination of monstrous beasts and cultivators. These cultivators were wearing different robes compared to the cultivators from the Jia continent. They should be the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. The other side was wearing the uniform of the Jia continent's cultivator army. The two sides were in a melee, and at every moment there were countless cultivators being killed. The cultivators with higher cultivations were controlling the airship-type artifacts to fight against the other side, while the cultivators with lower cultivations were fighting hand-to-hand on the battleships. After a terrible explosion, a blazing fire fell in the middle of the Jia continent's cultivator army, immediately causing a large number of the cultivator army to fall. Several cannonballs fell on the isolated island where Ningqing was located, causing some of the hanging stalagmites to crack and fall down. Ningqing then remembered his twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He quickly focused his attention on the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. When Ningqing saw the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves that were emitting a faint golden glow, he was immediately overjoyed in his heart. He knew that the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had completely matured. At this time Ningqing was no longer in the mood to watch this tragic war. He first carefully collected the two twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves suspended above the pond. Then he used a large jade box to put the two twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves into the jade box. Only then did he feel relieved. A burst of rapid footsteps arrived. Ningqing knew that the two sides fighting had already reached the isolated island. The natural killing array that he was in was also completely destroyed. Although this natural killing array was powerful, but it could not compare to the powerful spirit stone cannonballs and the bombardment of the cultivators from the expert cultivators. The one who rushed in was a soldier wearing the Jia continent's cultivator army. He was covered in blood and was seriously injured, while two Yixing Ocean's cultivators were chasing after him. Ningqing immediately stepped forward to help the Jia continent's cultivator soldier, when the Yixing Ocean's cultivator suddenly raised his hand and shot out a red light. This Jia continent's cultivator soldier fell down a few meters away from the rocky temple and died on the spot. The two cultivators from the Yixing Ocean who were chasing after him also saw Ningqing, did not hesitate to rush in and continued to kill Ningqing. These were just two early-stage true condensation cultivators. As such, Ningqing simply raised his hands and blasted out two axe fists. These two Yixing Ocean's cultivators under Ningqing's axe fists did not even have the ability to fight back, and were immediately killed by Ningqing. Ningqing saw that there were more and more cultivators on both sides of the island. Moreover, there were also many essence-building cultivators fighting in the air. There were even cultivators above the essence-building realm. He knew that he had to join one of the sides, otherwise he would not even know what would happen if he was killed. With his fastest speed, Ningqing took off the Jia continent's soldier's uniform and put it on his own body. Then, after burning the bodies of the two Yixing Ocean's cultivators, he dug a pit and buried the Jia continent's cultivator soldier. On the waist of the Jia continent's soldier, he saw a dagger, and on the dagger was engraved the words Yicheng Battalion's Zhuai. Ningqing did not touch the dagger, but rather buried the dagger together with the cultivator soldier. Regardless of whether these cultivator soldiers joined the army because of the cultivation resources, but without them, the monstrous beasts and the Yixing Ocean's cultivators would have already occupied the 9 continents. This was an indisputable fact. Towards these cultivator soldiers, Ningcheng still admired them. Not to mention that he had already seen the tragic situation of the battle. In this kind of battle, the chances of them not dying were really not big. Seeing that more and more people were rushing towards him, Ningcheng quickly rushed out of the rocky temple and turned around to send out a few more axe fists, completely burying the passage to the rocky temple. Only then did he carefully drill out from the rocky beach. With another punch, he smashed the rocky beach into slag. Outside, the sounds of countless magical weapons and spells exploding were even more clear, mixed with the bombardment of the spirit stone cannons. It made Ningcheng realize how tragic the battles between cultivators were. He had seen a lot of war movies, but compared to the bloody and terrifying scenes in front of him, these war movies simply could not be compared. Ningcheng did not immediately go out. He did not belong to any side, although he was wearing the Jia Continent's cultivator army uniform, but no one could recognize who he was. Ningcheng leaned against a concave boulder and looked at his own cultivator army uniform. On the left shoulder of the cultivator army uniform was an orange epaulet, with 2 stars on it, with the words 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo. Boom boom. Even more intense explosions sounded out. As some of the gravel fell on Ningcheng's body, Ningcheng found that the cultivator army on this island was getting more and more numerous. He swept out with his spiritual consciousness and saw that this area of the sea was filled with scenes of battles, stretching for hundreds of miles. Ningcheng was secretly startled in his heart. He guessed that this was a huge battle. He could not stay in this place. He had to leave immediately. Ningcheng stood up and was ready to break out of the encirclement and find a safe place when he found 2 cultivator soldiers fighting in this direction. These 2 were just chi-gathering cultivators. Ningcheng took out a flying sword and raised his hand, directly cutting the Yixing Ocean's cultivator in half. The Jia Continent's cultivator soldier gratefully gave a salute to Ningcheng and said, "Yifei Battalion's Yang Honghua thanks 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo for the rescue." Ningcheng did not understand the etiquette of the cultivator army camp and waved his hand and said, "There is no need to be polite on the battlefield, we are all comrades." This Yang Honghua whom he had saved had a red epaulet. Moreover, it was only a single star. He estimated that his rank was a level lower than his own. He wanted to ask this Yang Honghua, in the end, what was going on, but he did not know how to ask without exposing himself. The Yifei Battalion is almost completely annihilated. This Yang Honghua is willing to listen to 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo's commands. Seeing Ningcheng not speak for a long time, the 1-star cultivator soldier spoke up again. Ningcheng gave an sound and said, "Our Yicheng Battalion is also almost completely annihilated. This time we are really too passive." Ningcheng was just guessing. He estimated that if the Jia Continent's cultivator army was not passive, they would not have casually attacked the Yixing Ocean's inner sea. Yang Honghua nodded in agreement and said, "What 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo said is right. This time the Pubu Island was attacked. Our side suffered heavy casualties. It is even worse than the war 100 years ago." Originally it was a sneak attack. Ningcheng looked at the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army and the monstrous beasts on the battlefield, and pondered for a moment and said, "I believe that the Fu continent and the Central continent will send their armies to support us. Our top priority is to retreat first." Yang Honghua shook his head and said, "2nd Lieutenant Zhuo, I guess that no one will come to support us. This sneak attack was not only aimed at my Jia continent, the other continents should have also been attacked at the same time." Ningcheng was surprised in his heart. Simultaneously attacked? That would be terrible. He had to hurry back to the Hua continent. In case the Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts attacked the Hua continent, what would he do? The Jia continent's cultivator army was forced to come to Ningcheng's island. As the monstrous beasts and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army grew more and more, the Jia continent's cultivator army on the island became less and less. Yang Honghua did not know what Ningcheng was thinking. At this moment his eyes were red with anxiety. When he first joined the cultivator army, it was indeed for the sake of cultivation. But after experiencing all these years, he had long since formed his own view of the cultivator army. At this time, seeing his companions being killed one after another, how could he bear it? However, the Jia continent's cultivator army was very disciplined. He had already said that he would listen to Ningcheng's commands. Now that Ningcheng did not speak, He also did not dare to rush out and kill. "You follow behind me," Ning Cheng said as he also rushed out, while simultaneously bringing out his golden great axe. It was a pity that he did not have the long spear, otherwise at this time, he could have used the 36 profound ice spear technique, and would have definitely swept away a large number of people. Seeing Ning Cheng rush out, Yang Honghua quickly clenched his thick long knife and followed behind. Once Ning Cheng came out, he was immediately surrounded by many Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts. Ning Cheng immediately threw out his golden great axe, causing the sky to be filled with golden axe shadows. A tearing and twisting axe shadow suddenly appeared in the air. This twisting axe trace was getting clearer and clearer, and in the surroundings of this twisting axe trace, a dense number of tiny cracks began to appear. These fine lines instantly split open in the air. The golden axe shadows that filled the sky were the result of these cracks. This was Ning Cheng's angry axe's third form, axe line. After Ning Cheng had comprehended the axe line killing intent, this was the first time that he was able to display this move in the true sense of the word. Moreover, he was facing these cultivators whose cultivations were far inferior to him, as well as some low-leveled monstrous beasts. At this time, the cultivators and monstrous beasts that rushed up to the island were all low-leveled cultivators. The highest cultivation among them was not even at the essence-building realm. As for those with the cultivation of essence-building realm and above, all of them were fighting one-on-one in the air. None of them were willing to fight with these low-leveled cultivators. The axe line with a pale golden color split open in the air, as a strong killing intent blotted out the sky and swept down. Hundreds of Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers under this kind of terrifying axe line were instantly split open. These low-leveled cultivators under the axe line killing intent did not even have half a shred of power to resist. As soon as the axe line split open the sky, blood sprayed everywhere, as countless low-leveled cultivators and monstrous beasts fell down one after another. Ning Cheng was just like mowing grass, as he used his axe to completely kill all the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Yang Honghua stared blankly at Ning Cheng's terrifying axe, and was not able to recover for a long time. What kind of second lieutenant was this? He had been in the cultivator army for several years. How come he had never heard of such a powerful second lieutenant? Just as he was still in a daze, Ning Cheng's voice arrived. "Yang Honghua, you quickly collect the spoils of war, and also gather the scattered soldiers on our side." "Yes, second lieutenant," Yang Honghua respectfully replied in a loud voice, as he hurriedly followed Ning Cheng's instructions. With Ning Cheng as the second lieutenant in front of him, he simply did not need to fight. Looking at the might of his own axe, Ning Cheng was secretly shocked in his heart. This axe line was simply too powerful. With this axe line as an example, Ning Cheng directly rushed towards the place where the Yixing Ocean's cultivators were gathered, while at the same time constantly chopping out with his golden axe line. Ning Cheng used his golden axe line to kill his way through, as he quickly formed a pale golden trace behind him. Chapter 168. In the end, the golden axe shadow had already turned into a solid substance, as Ning Cheng was completely surrounded by a dense twisting axe line. These axe lines were extremely thin, but were filled with a strong killing intent. If a low-level cultivator were to come into contact with it, or even within the range of the killing intent, they would immediately be killed. Ning Cheng was already immersed in the splashing of the axe line. It was as if he was doing a splash ink painting, as he constantly splashed out ink. Originally it was the third form of the angry axe that consumed the most energy, but at this time when Ning Cheng cast it, the consumption of his true essence and spiritual consciousness was reduced to the minimum. The island was not that big. As Ning Cheng was killing his way through, it quickly attracted the attention of all the people. Some of the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers quickly retreated to the side and followed closely behind Ning Cheng. At this time, Yang Honghua had already gathered thousands of cultivator soldiers, and this number was still constantly rising. Initially, the Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers and monstrous beasts rushed up to surround Ning Cheng. In the end, he discovered that Ning City could not be surrounded at all. However many of them died, he instantly retreated in defeat. Regardless of whether the army was composed of cultivators or not, a defeated army was like a landslide. This sentence was the same for any army. As soon as the Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers retreated, the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers immediately stabilized their position, and with the help of Ningcheng, they immediately started to fight back. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators on the warships immediately rushed onto the small island. These cultivators collided with the cultivators driven away by Ningcheng, causing the situation to turn even more chaotic. The Jia continent's cultivators, under the leadership of Ningcheng, took advantage of the situation to occupy the island, and then counterattacked. In just a short period of time, the entire island was covered in blood mist. The island was the only piece of land in the vicinity. Whoever occupied it would, of course, have a greater advantage. Now that the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers had occupied the island, moreover they were using an absolutely crushing imposing manner to suppress the Yixing Ocean's cultivators to the point that they were unable to breathe. It immediately attracted the attention of some of the essence-building cultivators. The two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators immediately gave up on their opponents, and directly rushed towards Ningcheng, while simultaneously using their magic weapons in their hands to bombard Ningcheng. If it was a profound congealing cultivator, Ningcheng would have chosen to hide or escape. Facing two essence-building cultivators, moreover they were intermediate-stage essence-building cultivators, Ningcheng simply did not have even half a shred of awareness of retreating. The golden great axe in his hands directly drew a semicircle in the air, as it rumbled towards the two essence-building cultivators. This axe trace was different from the countless cracks that it had formed before, but this time Ningcheng's axe trace was a tragic and unstoppable golden axe line. This was a perfectly straight golden axe line, as if it wanted to break apart the blue dome of heaven in front of it, bringing with it a desolate autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. The two essence-building cultivators, in addition to using their attack-type magical weapons, simultaneously also brought out their round shield-type magical weapons. They had seen from a distance that Ningcheng's distorted axe trace was terrifying, so they had already brought out their shields to block this kind of terrifying distorted axe trace. But he did not think that Ningcheng would suddenly change his move, and this time use the angry axe, the first trace. Boom! Ka-ka! The formidable golden axe line directly blew away a steel fork and a copper hammer, and then collided with two round shields. The two intermediate-stage essence-building cultivators crazily spurted out a mouthful of blood, as they were sent flying like cannonballs. These two essence-building cultivators were scared out of their wits. If they had not prepared a round shield in advance, then the two of them would have already been killed. But these two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators had just flown half the distance, when the two Jia continent's essence-building cultivators rushed over from behind. The two of them simply did not have even half a shred of resistance before they were split into two halves. These two Jia continent's essence-building cultivators were even stunned for a moment. The two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators that they had beheaded had fought with them for a long time. As such, they knew that these two people were very powerful, but Ningcheng seemed to have almost killed these two people with just a single move. Just what kind of cultivation was this? Are you a 2-star second lieutenant? One of the essence-building cultivators asked as he looked at Ningcheng's epaulets in disbelief. Ningcheng glanced at the epaulets of the two people. One of them was called Si Yongchun, and was already a 3-star senior captain. The other one was called Xian Feihong, and was a 4-star junior marquis. Ningcheng did not pay any attention to the two people's ranks that were higher than his, but his face sank and said, "What kind of time is it now, and yet you still pay attention to these unimportant things?" Si Yongchun, you and Xian Feihong immediately gather all the scattered soldiers on this island, and then at the same time, we will launch a counterattack together. Yes. The two people quickly complied, as they turned around and went with Yang Honghua to gather the remaining soldiers. Although they were in the Jia continent's cultivator army, but at the same time they were also cultivators, moreover they were also cultivators, moreover they were cultivators, and then they were cultivators in the cultivator army. Ningcheng's cultivation was obviously far superior to them. Even if they had doubts in their hearts, at this time they could only obey the strong. Ningcheng saw that the two essence-building cultivators listened to his words, and went to gather the scattered soldiers, and was just about to breathe a sigh of relief, when he saw a black line rushing towards him. Profound congealing cultivator. Ning Cheng looked at the imposing manner of this cultivator, and immediately knew that he was a profound congealing cultivator. Die for me. This profound congealing cultivator was standing on top of a black warship, and was extremely fast and flexible. He had not yet arrived in front of Ning Cheng, when he immediately brought out a red cloud-like flag. The red cloud flag was covered with a blazing red light that completely wrapped around Ning Cheng. Only Ning Cheng, who was inside it, knew that he was completely bound by this red cloud. This red cloud flag was definitely a fire-attributed spiritual artifact. As such, he could only let it burn him. Unfortunately, the opposite party did not know that he had a Star River seed. Any kind of blazing flame that touched the surface of Ning Cheng's body would be swallowed up by the Star River seed. So Ning Cheng did not have much fear in his heart. Originally, Ning Cheng still had some fear towards this profound congealing cultivator, but now this fear had completely disappeared. Even a profound congealing cultivator was only SOSO. At this time he could easily split open this red cloud flag with his axe. He was glad that he had advanced to the essence building 4th level. If he was still at the essence building 1st level, then this red cloud flag would suddenly sweep over him. Even if he had the help of the Star River seed, he would only be able to find a way to retreat. Ning Cheng could break open the red cloud flag, but he did not do so. Not only did he not do so, but instead rushed towards this profound congealing cultivator. The red cloud flag was covered with a thick flame like red clouds, and under the coordination of Ning Cheng, completely engulfed Ning Cheng. This profound congealing cultivator sneered, a trivial intermediate stage essence building cultivator, and also dared to kill the cultivators of the Yixing Ocean? This profound congealing cultivator soon felt that something was wrong. Although his red cloud flag had brought out a lot of red clouds, but after it swept over Ning Cheng's body, it quickly dissipated without a trace. Not waiting for this profound congealing cultivator to figure out what was going on, Ning Cheng's golden great axe had already blasted out. A golden killing intent vortex like a tornado was blasted out by Ning Cheng's great axe. This great axe directly broke through the red cloud flag of the profound congealing cultivator, causing the surrounding killing intent to explode towards this profound congealing cultivator. This profound congealing cultivator no longer cared about why Ning Cheng was safe and sound under his red cloud flag. As he waved the red cloud flag in his hands outwards, countless red clouds and Ning Cheng's golden whirlpool of axe-killing intent rolled up together. Pa 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 sounds of explosions rang out incessantly. This scorching red clouds could not do anything to Ning Cheng, and similarly could not do anything to Ning Cheng's angry axe's second form tornado. After the fierce impact, this profound congealing cultivator was horrified to find that his true essence was unexpectedly somewhat lacking. That seemingly inexhaustible red clouds rolled up onto Ning Cheng's body. Just like mud falling into the sea, it completely disappeared. When his red cloud flag was once again blocked by the golden great axe, this profound congealing cultivator immediately felt a burst of exhaustion. But at this time Ning Cheng's golden great axe did not even have the slightest delay. Even the vortex of axe-killing intent was not completely blocked by him. Not good. This person was definitely a profound congealing cultivator, but he was concealing his cultivation. After this profound congealing cultivator determined that Ning Cheng was concealing his cultivation, his courage immediately turned cold, and he no longer dared to tangle with Ning Cheng. The red cloud flag in his hands suddenly erupted with an imposing aura, and in just a short breath of time, this red cloud flag immediately exploded with a bang. He wanted to use such a move to escape, but at this time Ning Cheng's angry axe's second form tornado also completely gathered the surrounding killing force, causing it to explode. Boom boom boom. The two powerful true essence killing forces collided with each other, causing a terrible explosion sound to ring out. Ning Cheng was shocked by this terrifying true essence backlash, and was forced to retreat a few steps, as he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. But he immediately saw that the profound congealing cultivator was not much better off than him. At this time the other party was panicking like a stray dog, and was rapidly retreating. Even the black warship that had landed on the island did not care about it at all. How could Ning Cheng let the other party escape? As he once again rushed forward, the golden great axe in his hands once again brought out a tearing axe trace. You can't kill me. I am Yixing Ocean's Mu. This profound congealing cultivator guessed that Ningcheng was also a profound congealing cultivator, moreover was not afraid of his red cloud flag, causing him to feel a chill down his spine. Now he only wanted to escape. Where would he find the courage to continue fighting with Ningcheng? Ningcheng saw that this profound congealing cultivator was already terrified, and did not dare to fight with him, causing him to feel relieved in his heart. Although he was not afraid of this person, but if the other party really went all out, then even if he won, it would be a very miserable victory. Now that the other party was terrified, why would he still hold back? I can't kill you, Ningcheng said, as the golden great axe in his hands stimulated the killing intent of the golden great axe. This profound congealing cultivator did not even have time to breathe a sigh of relief when he saw the tearing golden great axe trace cut through the distance between him and Ningcheng, as it swept past his waist. At this time he heard Ningcheng's last two words, "That would be strange." After killing this profound congealing cultivator, Ningcheng's heroic spirit immediately rose. This was the first time that he had killed a profound congealing cultivator in a direct confrontation, although his Star River technique was able to restrain the other party's red cloud flag, but Ningcheng's confidence in his heart still greatly increased. Being able to kill an early-stage profound congealing cultivator in the essence-building realm, there were definitely not many people in this world. After Ningcheng killed this profound congealing cultivator, he immediately rushed towards him and took away his ring. He could feel that this profound congealing cultivator was not simple. Moreover, the warship that he was riding on was also not simple. This was the fastest warship that Ningcheng had seen so far. Moreover, this warship was exactly what he needed right now. After putting away the ring, Ningcheng immediately came to the side of the warship. He wanted to take this warship as his own. Ningcheng had encountered a profound congealing cultivator, but the life and death battle between the two profound congealing cultivators had only lasted for a few dozen breaths. In this short period of time, the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean and the cultivators from the Jia continent forgot about their entanglement, as they stared at the battle between the two of them. Chapter 169. When all the people saw that the profound congealing cultivator was killed by Ningcheng, they immediately fell into chaos. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators were in a mess. The two essence-building cultivators who were worried about Ningcheng immediately knew that this was a great opportunity, and quickly gathered the scattered soldiers, and took advantage of the situation to attack. At this moment they did not care about Ningcheng's cultivation. This battlefield was just a corner of the entire battlefield. The profound congealing cultivators were the highest cultivators here. They did not think that a profound congealing cultivator would fall on this small island. Ningcheng also did not care about anything else. He wanted to seize the time to refine this black warship. He felt that this warship could take him back to the Hua continent. But Ningcheng was soon disappointed. He found that this warship was not a magical weapon, and he had no way to refine it. This warship was 34 meters long, and was about 7 or 8 meters wide. If he could not refine such a big guy, then how could he drive it? Although the ring that he obtained in the Angry Axe Valley could accommodate this big guy, but it was still inconvenient. Ningcheng frowned. He looked up and saw that Yang Honghua was still standing at his side, and immediately asked, "Why didn't you charge?" Yang Honghua quickly replied, "Second Lieutenant Zhua, I have always operated a warship in the Jia continent's army. The warship that you obtained is the Yixing Ocean's top-grade black-silver warship. It is extremely fast, and incomparably hard. If Second Lieutenant Zhua wants to use this warship to attack the enemy camp, then I am willing to operate the ship for the second lieutenant." Ningcheng was moved in his heart. "Do you know a lot about the cultivator army's warships?" Yang Honghua nodded and spoke. "Yes, I originally operated a warship. The Yifei Battalion is also a cultivator army that fights in the air. Later the warship was hit by the Yixing Ocean Spirit Stone cannons, and was scattered on this small island, so I decided to fight on the ground." "Very good. I do not know much about warships. You can tell me what you know." Ningcheng did not care about what his words would reveal. He was eager to return to the Hua continent. Although Yang Honghua had some doubts, but he still spoke in detail. In the cultivator army, whether it is the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army or the Nine Continents cultivator army, warships are indispensable. A flying warship and a flight-type magical weapon have a difference. A flying warship is strong and flexible, but it cannot be refined, and can only be used for combat. Moreover, the warship needs spirit stones to be driven, so it can't be driven with spiritual sense or true essence. Ningqing nodded and spoke. That's right, but you are wrong about one thing. Flying battleships are not only used for combat, but can also be used for travel. Yang Honghua quickly replied, yes. In his heart, however, he did not think much of it. The flying warship required a frightening amount of spirit stones to operate. Who would use such a warship to travel? Unless there was something wrong with their brain, or they had too many spirit stones to use up. You're not bad. How about this, you help me control the warship first, and we'll go and kill some more. Ningcheng saw that although the cultivator army led by Si Yongchun and Xian Feihong had the upper hand, but because of the small number of people, there was a possibility that they would collapse if they dragged on for too long. As such, he decided to help them a little before he left. Yes, Second Lieutenant. Yang Honghua happily jumped onto the warship. He waited for Ningcheng to board the ship, and then said, Second Lieutenant, I'm going to drive the ship and rush over. It's a pity that we don't have spirit stones. If we had spirit stones, we could have spirit stone cannons on this ship. We could have fired a few cannons at them. Spirit stone cannons. Ningqing immediately asked. Yang Honghua quickly replied. Yes, this spirit stone cannon costs 1,000 high-grade spirit stones to fire. It's just too expensive. Ningcheng threw a storage bag towards Yang Honghua and said, You just fire the cannons. You don't have to worry about the spirit stones. Yang Honghua picked up the storage bag and swept it with his spiritual sense, and was immediately shocked. This 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Wasn't this Second Lieutenant Zhua just too rich? 100,000 high-grade spirit stones, just how many cannons would he need to fire? Even the entire Yifei battalion was not this rich. Hurry up, my time is very tight. Ningqing landed at the front of the black warship, and called out to Yang Honghua. Yes. Yang Honghua was pleasantly surprised as he inserted the spirit stones into the groove, and started the black warship. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness had been observing Yang Honghua's movements, and when he saw Yang Honghua skillfully operating the ship, he immediately knew that Yang Honghua was not bragging. He really had a way of operating the ship. However, Ningcheng was able to quickly learn it. Moreover, Ningcheng was also able to see a detailed nautical chart in the control room of the warship. The black warship rushed out in a black line. Almost at the same time that the black warship rose into the air, Ningcheng felt the warship under his feet shake. A bright white light shot out from one side of the warship. Ningcheng knew that this was Yang Honghua firing the cannons. Boom, boom, boom. Several cannons were fired one after another, causing violent spiritual energy fluctuations to burst out. These spiritual energy fluctuations were not the gentle kind of spiritual qi. Rather, it was the explosive energy from the spirit stones. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army that had gathered together were instantly stunned by the dense spirit stone cannons, as they were overturned in large numbers. It was just like when the Yixing Ocean's cultivators had used the spirit stone cannons to bombard the Jia continent's cultivators. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators were simply unable to block the terrifying spirit stone cannons. Ningcheng could feel the constant tremors under his feet, and was secretly worried in his heart. This Yang Honghua's continuous bombardment of the cannons would not cause the warship to fall apart, right? He was not even the least bit distressed about the spirit stones. If this awesome warship fell apart, then how would he be able to return to the Hua continent? After firing a few more cannons, Ningcheng felt that his worries were unnecessary. Although the black warship was constantly shaking, but it did not show any signs of falling apart. Ningcheng felt relieved in his heart. When he saw the Yixing Ocean's cultivators in a mess, he directly said, Yang Honghua, take our warship and rush over. I want to use my axe to chop down a few times. Yes, Second Lieutenant Zhua. Yang Honghua, who was happily fighting, quickly controlled the warship to rush over. But he was still annoyed in his heart. He had already enjoyed himself, but the second lieutenant had not even started. The might of this second Lieutenant Zhua's golden axe line, he was very clear about it. As the warship rushed into the middle of the Yixing Ocean's dense flying warships, Ningcheng did not even have the slightest scruple as he blasted out with his golden axe line. Numerous Yixing Ocean's low-leveled cultivators and their flying warships, under the powerful killing intent of Ningcheng's axe line, were like dumplings falling into the sea. When Xian Feihong saw Ningcheng and Yang Honghua rush over, and instantly took control of the situation, he was overjoyed in his heart, and immediately organized the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers on the island to snatch the warships and besiege the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. In terms of numbers, the Jia continent's cultivator army was definitely not as many as the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, because Ningcheng had beheaded a profound congealing cultivator, and also killed 2 essence-building cultivators. The scene was instantly controlled by the Jia continent's cultivator army. Under this situation, the Jia continent's cultivator army quickly took control of the situation. Under the control of the remaining profound congealing cultivator, the Yixing Ocean's cultivators barely began to retreat. That profound congealing cultivator did not dare to fight with Ningcheng. He was afraid that the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army would be completely annihilated. As for those low-leveled monstrous beasts, they could not even retreat, as many of the monstrous beasts that came to participate in the battle were still in a state of obedience to orders. Once they lost the cultivators who gave them orders, these monstrous beasts were completely thrown into chaos. Although Ningcheng and his warship were incomparably fierce, but the number of Yixing Ocean's cultivator army was simply too many. With the retreat of these cultivators, the Jia continent's cultivator army could only encircle and kill some of them who did not have enough time to escape, wanting to completely annihilate the other side. It was simply impossible. Yang Honghua, aim the cannons at those warships that are about to leave. Do not be stingy with the spirit stones. Ningcheng found that the Jia continent's cultivator army had fewer warships, while the Yixing Ocean's warships were more numerous. These Yixing Ocean's cultivators who wanted to retreat also wanted to take the warships with them. Ningcheng did not hesitate to let Yang Honghua fire the cannons. At the same time, he also gave up on those cultivators who wanted to escape, and specifically targeted the Yixing Ocean's cultivators on the warships. These cultivators who were ready to escape soon understood Ningcheng's intentions, and some of the cultivators in a panic quickly abandoned their warships. The Jia continent's cultivators also understood Ningcheng's intentions, and immediately took control of the warships. As long as they took control of the warships, then the Yixing Ocean's cultivators who were trying to escape would not be able to go far. For hours later, the situation on this battlefield had completely stabilized. The warships were now under the control of the Jia continent's cultivator army, but most of these warships were still in a damaged state, and could not immediately participate in the battle, which allowed many of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators to escape. Si Yongchun and Xian Feihong, the 2 essence-building cultivators, understood Ningcheng's intentions, and knew that it was absolutely impossible for the Jia continent's cultivator army to completely annihilate the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. For them to be able to fight until this point, it was already considered to be extremely lucky. The 2 essence-building cultivators did not have the time to greet Ningcheng, as they quickly gathered the rest of the essence-building cultivators, and reorganized the Jia continent's cultivator army, and then repaired the warships. Second Lieutenant Zhua, my Yifei battalion has been completely annihilated. I would like to request to join the Yiqing battalion, and become the second lieutenant's personal guard. Yang Honghua came out of the control room of the warship, and spoke in an excited tone. He had never fought such a happy battle before. This was simply like pulling dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. This second Lieutenant Zhua's golden axe was simply invincible. All the cultivators who wanted to get close to the warship were all killed by his golden axe. Ningcheng waved his hand and spoke. Yang Honghua, this battlefield should not have any powerhouses. If a master came, then as long as a late-stage profound congealing cultivator, or even a profound core cultivator, then we would not be so relaxed. We might not even be able to escape. I heard that in the Lu continent's Yixing Ocean's battlefield, there are even crucible transformation cultivators. Once we meet such a master, then we would only be cannon fodder. Ningcheng was very calm. He could see that in this place, early-stage profound congealing cultivators were already considered to be top-level existences, but in the entire Yixing Ocean's battlefield, It was impossible for there to be only profound congealing cultivators. There would definitely be other powerful masters. It was just that these masters were currently too busy to deal with them. Once those masters came, even if his angry axe-killing intent was powerful, it would simply be like floating clouds. Yang Honghua was just about to speak, when an incomparably tyrannical spiritual consciousness swept over. At the same time an angry voice arrived. "Kid, I will skin you alive." When Ningcheng heard this voice he immediately shuddered. This voice was definitely coming from a very far place, but he could actually feel his spiritual soul trembling. This was definitely a soul essence realm expert, not to mention a soul essence realm expert. Even if it was a profound core realm expert, or even a late-stage profound congealing cultivator, Ningcheng would not be their opponent. In the face of a departed spirit realm expert, how could he still be alive? Hurry up and leave. Ningcheng had just thought of this, when an extremely terrifying sword shadow came chopping down, but Ningcheng had not even seen the shadow of the opposite party. Chapter 170. Quickly Escape. Ningcheng only had enough time to call out to Yang Honghua, as he crazily gathered all of his true essence and chopped out with his golden great axe. The opposite party had only brought out a sword shadow from a distance. If it was a real sword light, then Ningcheng would not even try to resist it, as he was sure that he would not be able to block it. This was a sword shadow brought out by his spiritual consciousness. Ningcheng felt that if he used all of his strength, he should be able to block it. As long as Yang Honghua could understand his intentions in time, and quickly start the warship, he would still have a glimmer of hope to escape. Ningcheng even made a plan. If Yang Honghua could not start the warship in time, or if his golden great axe could not block the opposite party's sword shadow, then he would immediately jump into the Yixing Ocean, and then find a way to escape into the mysterious yellow bead. At this time, Ningcheng felt that it was a pity for the blood-escaping talisman. He did not know how many times he had cursed it in his heart, but no matter how many times he cursed it, the blood-escaping talisman could not be changed back. Yang Honghua's experience on the battlefield was much richer than Ningcheng's. As soon as he saw the situation, he knew that he would not be able to help. The only thing he could do was to control the warship to escape. Therefore, even without Ningcheng's reminder, Yang Honghua once again rushed into the control room of the warship, and quickly started the warship. Boom! The sword shadow from a distance and Ningcheng's golden great axe collided with each other. The resulting explosion of true essence directly sent Yang Honghua's warship flying out. The violent true essence fluctuations caused the seawater below to form a whirlpool with a radius of several feet. Some of the cultivators who were still struggling in the sea were directly swept away by this powerful whirlpool, disappearing without a trace. Ningcheng felt as if a 10,000 gene hammer had smashed into his chest. This kind of terrible and powerful force was something that he was completely unable to bear. The next moment, Ningcheng was like a cannonball as he was blown away. His hope of using the warship to escape fell through. While still in the air, Ningcheng spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood, as his meridians felt a burst of burning pain. However, as he was blown away, and out of the range of the imposing aura of the sword shadow, his tough and thick meridians did not break. But Ningcheng's heart was not happy. This was just a random sword shadow from the opposite party. Once the opposite party came face to face with him, how could he have a chance to survive? The warship controlled by Yang Honghua, because Ningcheng had completely blocked the might of the sword shadow, was only sent flying by the powerful true essence shockwave, while the warship and Yang Honghua himself did not receive any injuries. Yang Honghua quickly stabilized the warship once again. He unexpectedly did not control the warship to escape. Rather, he controlled the warship to rush towards Ningcheng, apparently wanting to take Ningcheng away with him. Hey, just a trivial essence-building cultivator, and yet can block my spiritual consciousness sword shadow? Then take another strike from me. As the voice faded, a tall man with thin eyes appeared in the sky above the sea. Ningcheng's heart sank. Just a moment ago the opposite party had sent out a sword shadow from a distance, and it had almost killed him. Now that this person had already arrived in front of him, how could he escape? Moreover, when he saw this person, he knew that his guess was not wrong. This person was definitely an essence soul realm cultivator. Moreover, he was a late-stage essence soul realm cultivator. Haha, Waluan, you are just a late-stage soul essence cultivator. Yet you actually want to bully a cultivator in the essence building realm. Do you still have any face? This father will accompany you to continue playing. Another voice arrived, and along with this voice came a blade light that looked just like a waterfall. Kong Pung Pung, today I will kill you first, and then completely exterminate these ants, and take revenge for Tu Yun. This tall man in the face of this blade light had no choice but to give up on the idea of killing Ning Cheng, as he turned around to fight with the person who had just arrived. Ning Cheng felt relieved as he landed on the warship that Yang Honghua had brought over, and spoke to Yang Honghua. Thank you, you actually could have left first. Yang Honghua immediately stood up and spoke. Not to mention that my life was saved by Second Lieutenant Zhua. Even if I became the second lieutenant's personal guard, I would not be able to escape first. Ning Cheng nodded, and did not speak again, as he sat down on the deck of the warship to heal himself. He had just advanced to the essence building 4th level, and had only managed to kill an early-stage profound congealing cultivator. This kind of complacency had not even warmed up, when he was almost killed by a spiritual consciousness sword from a very far distance. His strength was simply too low. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's injuries were not that heavy. Moreover, because that soul essence cultivator was too far away, that sword shadow was basically blocked by Ning Cheng's golden axe trace. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng finally stood up. At this time he was shocked to discover that the battle between these two soul essence cultivators was not something that an ordinary person could intervene in. In the radius of more than 100 feet where the two of them were fighting, there was a violent surge of true essence. In this radius of 100 feet, there were no longer any cultivators or warships. He did not know if they had retreated in time, or if they had been destroyed by the battle between the two of them. The seawater in the vicinity of the battle between the two of them had turned into a tumbling whirlpool of roaring waves. Even the nearest spectators were forced to retreat a few thousand meters away. Ning Cheng finally came to understand. No wonder that the highest cultivation level of the cultivators fighting here was only at the profound congealing realm. As long as there was a high-level cultivator fighting, then the battlefield would be reserved for the high-level cultivators. These two cultivators were obviously at the late stages of the soul essence realm. The tall and thin-eyed man who was attacking Ning Cheng was using a long sword as his magical weapon, while his opponent was a short man who was not very tall, but the magical weapon used by this man was an incomparably wide blade. The appearance of the two people and their magical weapons were completely incompatible, but the strength of the two people could be seen at a glance through the fierce battle. The blade light and the sword light collided together. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could only see a powerful true essence explosion. He was completely unable to see the positions and movements of the two people. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the tall man angrily rushed out of the range of the blade light and the sword light, as he coldly stared at Ning Cheng and spoke. Kid, you killed Shen Tiyun, sooner or later your head will be sent to the Yixing Ocean. Saying that, he looked at the short man who was fighting him and gave a cold snort. Kong Pung Pung, I will give you some time to be proud of yourself. Wait for this father to advance to the soul sculpting realm. At that time let's see what you can do to me. After saying this sentence, his figure flashed a few times, and disappeared in a twinkling of an eye. Defeated opponent, you are the only one who can advance to the soul sculpting realm. Is this Grandpa Kong not going to move? Bah. The short male cultivator did not chase after the other party, but rather landed at the front of Ning Cheng's warship. Yang Honghua's actions were even faster than Ning Cheng's, as he quickly stepped forward and gave a military salute and spoke. Yifei Battalion's Yang Honghua greets General Kong. Ning Cheng, on seeing this, also quickly imitated Yang Honghua's actions and spoke. Yicheng Battalion's Zhuyi greets General Kong. At the same time, Ning Cheng was able to clearly see the shoulder card of the man in front of him. It was a blue-colored 6 stars, with the words General Kong Pung Pung written on it. Are you a 2-star second lieutenant? When I was fighting with that small-eyed man, I saw you kill a profound congealing cultivator with my spiritual consciousness. Wasn't the warship you are standing on was also snatched from the hands of that profound congealing cultivator? With your ability, you should at least be a 3-star senior captain. How is it possible that you are still a second lieutenant? Kong Peng Peng stared at Ning Cheng and asked in a puzzled manner. Ning Cheng felt a chill run down his spine. He had never thought that his actions of killing the enemy would be seen by someone else. No wonder that person called Waluan wanted to kill him. It turned out that he had come here specifically for him. But his spiritual consciousness was not even half a bit aware of it. Ning Cheng quickly put aside these thoughts. He was not aware of it not because his vigilance was low, but because he was facing so many Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, he simply could not take care of anything else. To put it bluntly, it was because his cultivation was too low. This Kong Peng Peng in front of him obviously found that his identity did not match up. If he continued to lie, then once he was found out, then it would only be a dead end for him. He quickly cupped his fists and spoke in a respectful manner. I do not dare to conceal anything from Senior Kong. This junior had come here following a merchant ship. Originally I was going to the Pubu Island to join the army, but I did not expect that the merchant ship would suddenly be swept away by the battle near this island. As such, this junior had no choice but to come to this island. Because I do not have the identity of a cultivator soldier from the Jia continent, I did not dare to participate in the battle. Afterwards Zhuo Yi died in battle. I borrowed 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo Yi's uniform to wear, and helped the Jia continent's cultivator army in the battle. Ning Cheng's words were not spoken with the tone of a cultivator from the cultivator army, but rather with the identity of an ordinary cultivator. Otherwise he would not have called himself a junior. If this Kong Peng Peng really wanted to take him down, then he would not be able to resist. Kong Peng Peng did not know if he believed Ning Cheng's words or not, but just nodded and said, "You are very good. Relying on your own strength you were able to reverse the situation of the battle. Moreover, relying on your axe intent you were able to kill a profound congealing cultivator. Your golden axe shadow should have been comprehended from the Angry Axe Valley, right?" Ning Cheng quickly spoke. Yes, my magical weapon just happened to restrain that person's red cloud flag, so I won by a fluke. If the other party had not escaped, then I would not have won. Listening to this Kong Peng Peng's tone, didn't he think that he would not do anything to him? He was afraid that Kong Peng Peng would catch him, an essence-building cultivator, and ask him to kill a profound congealing cultivator, so he quickly explained, "Do you still want to join the cultivator army?" Kong Peng Peng looked at Ning Cheng with a very appreciative gaze. He had clearly seen Ning Cheng's performance a moment ago. He did not know if he had not thought about it, or if he really thought that Ning Cheng's axe intent was indeed able to kill a profound congealing cultivator, but he did not ask about the things that Ning Cheng was worried about. I still want to join the Jia continent's cultivator army, Ning Cheng said without hesitation. No matter what Kong Peng Peng thought, he knew that joining the cultivator army was definitely not wrong. Kong Peng Peng nodded. Do you want to join the cultivator army to cultivate? To get more cultivation resources? I am a rogue cultivator. Without any cultivation resources, it would be very difficult for me to progress. It was because I had a few opportunities that I was able to advance to the essence-building realm. After all, opportunities do not come by often. My spiritual root qualifications are not outstanding. If I want to advance to a higher level, then I can only join the cultivator army. Ning Cheng honestly replied. He knew that at this time he could not be realistic. Moreover, this reason was also a completely reasonable one. Kong Peng Peng gave an end sound, and pondered for a moment before saying, The Yicheng battalion has already been destroyed. Since you want to continue to join the cultivator army, then how about joining my Yizheng battalion? Working under my command, you will definitely be happy. Ning Cheng hurriedly spoke with excitement. I am willing to join the Yizheng battalion, and bring glory to the Yizheng battalion. Kong Peng Peng was very satisfied. He did not doubt Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng's previous performance had already explained everything, and then said, If you join the Yizheng battalion with your original identity, then at this time of emergency, you will not be able to be promoted to an officer. You can temporarily join my Yizheng battalion with the identity of Zhuo Yi. After the war is over, I will help you change it back. Wait, let me see what kind of title I should give you. Chapter 171. Senior, because I have a family in the Hua continent, I estimate that the Yixing Ocean's military disaster will affect the Hua continent. I ask Senior to allow me to go and support the Hua continent. When Ning Cheng heard that Kong Peng Peng wanted to promote him, he quickly spoke out the words that he wanted to say the most. Do you want to go to the Hua continent? Kong Peng Peng stared at Ning Cheng and specifically asked. Ning Cheng felt that there was nothing wrong with his words, and immediately spoke with certainty. Yes, this junior's wife is in the Hua continent, so I am very worried. At this time, some essence-building cultivators and a profound congealing cultivator came to greet him. Kong Peng Peng let them first clean up the mess on the battlefield, and then deliberately sat down in front of Ning Cheng's warship, while motioning Ning Cheng to also sit down, and then said, later on in the cultivator barracks, do not call me senior, this habit must be changed, directly call me commander is good. Yes, General Kong. Ning Cheng really did not call him commander, since the others called him general. Then the title of general sounded better. Kong Peng Peng nodded and said, if you go to the Hua continent now, I guess it would not be of any use. Why? Ning Cheng was surprised for a moment. He completely forgot that the person in front of him was a person with a higher cultivation level than him. Kong Peng Peng sighed and said, this time the Yixing Ocean's cultivator's sneak attack was an all-out attack. The 9 continents army even had to abandon the Jia continent, not to mention the Hua continent. So I guess that even if the Hua continent did not fall, it would still be in imminent danger. Even if you use this captured top-quality black-silver warship, it would still take you nearly half a month. In terms of time, you simply do not have enough time. Ning Cheng suddenly stood up, while simultaneously clenching his fists. He felt his whole body trembling. If the Hua continent fell, then what about Luofei? Where would Luofei go? Kong Peng Peng patted Ning Cheng's shoulder, motioning Ning Cheng to sit down again, and said, a man does not need to worry about not having a wife, although the Yixing Ocean's cultivators are temporarily in the lead, but they will soon compromise. Ning Cheng's heart was in chaos. He bowed and said, General Kong, I must go to the Hua continent, otherwise I will not be able to feel at ease. This time Kong Peng Peng did not continue to persuade Ning Cheng. He pondered for a moment and said, I appreciate you very much. I believe that you will be able to do great things in my Yizheng battalion. Since you want to go, then it is up to you. But since you are my people, there are some things that I must tell you. Ning Cheng forced himself to calm down. General, please speak. Kong Peng Peng said, do you know the reason why the Yixing Ocean's cultivators decided to attack my 9 continents regardless of the casualties? Ning Cheng shook his head in a daze. How would he know about this matter? As if he knew that Ning Cheng was not clear about it, Kong Peng Peng did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer, and continued. A lot of people who are not part of the cultivator army do not know that the Yixing mainland actually has 10 continents. He had heard Song Shua say that there was a 10th continent outside of the Yixing Ocean. The 10th continent was the true cultivation land. It even contained existences that surpassed the crucible transformation realm. For Ning Cheng to know that the Yixing mainland had 10 continents, Kong Peng Peng did not find it strange, as most of the Jia continent's cultivator army knew about this. Moreover, he also knew that many of these Yixing Ocean's cultivators were the descendants of the 10th continent who were left behind in the Yixing Ocean. On the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean, the 10th continent is called the Tian continent. This continent is the place where the real powerhouses gather. Crucible transformation cultivators in the Yixing mainland's 3 high-level continents are the peak existences, but in the Tian continent, the crucible transformation cultivators are not the peak, but rather there are existences that are even higher than the crucible transformation cultivators. Speaking till here, Kong Peng Peng suddenly asked, Zhuo Yi, do you know if you can cultivate to the peak in the Yixing mainland? What kind of level would you reach? When Ning Cheng heard this, his heartbeat suddenly accelerated. He and Taishusher had talked about this kind of thing, and had heard that Taishusher's ancestor could tear apart the Yixing mainland's interface. Did Kong Peng Peng mean that if he could cultivate to the highest level, he could also tear apart the interface here, and then he would have the opportunity to return to Earth? Although he was excited in his heart, Ning Cheng still held back his excitement, and spoke in a respectful voice. General Kong, my real name is Ning Cheng. I do not know what is the peak of cultivation, but I really want to know. Kong Peng Peng smiled. I can see that you really want to know. Your heartbeat has already expressed your thoughts. I heard that a long time ago, the Yixing mainland's cultivators could cultivate to the peak, and could leave this world, and go to a higher level world to continue to pursue the Tao. But after all, this is only a legend, because no one has ever really left this world to go to another world. But then there was a cultivator from the Tian continent who passed through the Yixing Ocean, proving that this is not a legend, but rather a real thing. Is it tearing apart the boundary? Ning Cheng asked nervously if it was tearing apart the boundary. Then he really wanted to know to what extent one would be able to achieve such a thing. According to what he knew, the highest level of cultivation was the crucible transformation realm. It was certainly impossible to achieve. Kong Peng Peng shook his head and said, "It should not be tearing apart the boundary." The Yixing Ocean's cultivator was also not very clear about it. He only said that in the endless starry skies, the Yixing mainland is just a broken place, and the laws are not complete. In the endless starry skies, there are many true cultivation planets, but the level of those true cultivation planets is far higher than the Yixing mainland. Does that mean that with the same cultivation of essence building realm, the Yixing mainland's cultivators would not be able to compare to others? Ning Qing asked in doubt. Although cultivation is a different path to the same end, but there are differences in strength. After the Yixing mainland was broken, the cultivation levels of the cultivators were re-evolved according to the laws of the heaven and earth. So it is normal for cultivators of the same level to not be able to compare to others. Even the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland are different. The lower class continents are restricted by the laws of the heaven and earth and the spiritual qi. As such, the cultivation methods are far inferior to the intermediate class continents and the advanced class continents, not to mention the other continents. Kong Peng Peng sighed and spoke. He himself was not very clear about it. Ning Cheng had come from earth. Even if he had cultivated for a few years, how could he know about these things? In Kong Peng Peng's words, what he was most concerned about was that someone from the Tian continent could leave the Yixing mainland and go to a higher plane. So after he listened to Kong Peng Peng's words, he quickly asked, "Is there really someone from the Tian continent who left the Yixing mainland?" Kong Peng Peng's tone became a bit more dignified. "What I want to tell you is this. Although the Yixing Ocean's cultivators sneak attacked the cultivator army of the 9 continents, but the war should soon calm down. At least for the time being, it should calm down." I asked the general to dispel my doubts. Ning Qing quickly said. Kong Peng Peng's tone became a bit eager. "There is the latest news, that the Tian continent's Heaven's Way has once again opened." "What is Heaven's Way?" Ning Qing could not help but ask. After the Yixing mainland was broken, the laws became incomplete. As such, there is no way to use the laws of the heaven and earth to leave the Yixing mainland. But in the Tian continent, there is a road called Heaven's Way. When a cultivator's cultivation reaches a certain level, they can then pass through the Heaven's Way and leave the Yixing mainland, and go to a place with more abundant spiritual qi and resources, to pursue a higher Tao. As Kong Peng Peng spoke these words, his tone became more and more excited. It was obvious that he also wanted to walk through the Heaven's Way. Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng repeated the words. He had already set the Heaven's Way as his current goal. Kong Peng Peng once again gave a smile. Don't think that the Heaven's Way is easy to walk through. Although in theory after reaching a certain level, everyone can walk through the Heaven's Way. But the people who can really cross it, from ancient times until now, no one knows how many, or perhaps not even a single one. Because after entering the Heaven's Way, all the cultivators disappear. No one knows if they have already walked through the Heaven's Way or not. It might really be the Heaven's Way. Or it might just be a legend. Then who else will go to Heaven's Road? When your cultivation reaches a certain level, you'll understand this principle. The Tian continent was called the Tian continent because it had such a Heaven's Road. The Heavenly Road had been closed for countless years, but it had opened again recently. All the cultivators who had been stuck in their cultivation for countless years rushed towards the Heaven's Road, wanting to find a way out. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, this time they launched a large-scale sneak attack on the 9 continents. It is also because of the Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng became even more confused as he asked, General Kong, the Heaven's Way is in the Tian continent, The cultivators from the Yixing Ocean should be going to the Tian continent. Why would they want to attack the 9 continents? To the Heaven continent? Kong Peng Peng sneered. The distance between the Yixing Ocean's cultivators and the Tian continent's mainland island, even if they walked for countless years, they would not necessarily be able to reach it. The reason why they came to the 9 continents is because there is also a Heaven's Way in the Lu continent. Seeing Ning Cheng surprised, Kong Peng Peng explained, the Lu continent's Heaven's Way has always existed, but compared to the Tian continent's Heaven's Way, the Lu continent's Heaven's Way is also known as the pseudo-Heaven's Way, because once one entered the Lu continent's Heaven's Way, one would be able to come out. Moreover, only cultivators who have reached the essence-building realm, and whose life essence has not yet taken shape, can enter. That is, only essence-building, profound congealing and profound core cultivators can enter this Heaven's Way. In addition to being called the pseudo-Heaven's Way, there are also people who call it the Law's Way. The Yixing mainland is broken, other than the Tian continent, which has enough cultivation resources, and the heaven and earth laws are relatively complete. In the rest of the 9 continents, the cultivators who can cultivate to the sea-opening realm and above must have experienced the Law's Way. After the cultivators reach the essence-building realm, they can comprehend the various incomplete cultivation laws of the 9 continents inside the Law's Way, and perfect their own Tao of cultivation. Only by experiencing the Law's Way, and comprehending it perfectly, would it be possible for them to aspire to a higher level. There are more and more Yixing Ocean's cultivators on the island, although the sea is also rich in resources, but it is not as rich as the inland. With the consumption of cultivation resources, after the Yixing Ocean's cultivators reach the soul essence realm, it is getting more and more difficult to advance. This time they are cutting off all means of retreat, because they want to share the Law's Way. They want the Yixing Ocean's cultivators to also be able to walk the Law's Way. Ning Cheng understood. Those cultivators with high cultivation levels also want to go to the Tian continent to walk the real Heaven's Way. These cultivators with high cultivation levels are afraid that after they leave the Yixing Ocean, the Yixing Ocean would not have any successors. As such, they are anxious to cultivate some talented successors. If these successors want to speed up their cultivation to a higher level, then they would have to walk the Law's Way. Kong Peng Peng gave an appreciative nod to Ning Cheng and spoke, "You are very smart. It is indeed like this the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army suddenly made their move, is to reach an agreement with the cultivators of the 9 continents. Every time they walk the Law's Way, their people would also be able to enter a part of it." Ning Cheng suddenly thought, although he had rendered meritorious service in this war, but in the end he was just an ordinary essence-building cultivator. Kong Peng Peng was just a soul essence cultivator. Even if he appreciated him, there was no need for him to explain these things in such detail, right? Chapter 172. After Kong Peng Peng praised Ning Cheng, his tone suddenly changed, and became even more serious as he spoke. "Ning Cheng, do you want to go further on the path of cultivation, such as advancing to the profound core realm, or even beyond the profound core realm?" Ning Cheng spoke with affirmation. "Of course I want to go further, but my qualifications." Kong Peng Peng stood up, as he looked at the distant Yixing Ocean and spoke. "How far your heart is, how far you can go. You see that the Yixing Ocean is boundless. In fact, there are some people who can cross the Yixing Ocean. Since ancient times, there had been too many almighty beings with shocking talents. Were they all very talented? No. At least not some of them. Do you know the Wu Nian Academy's sovereign Qing Yi Shui? He had a triple-line hybrid spiritual root, but today he is a powerhouse at the Crucible Transformation 9th level." Speaking till here, Kong Peng Peng retracted his gaze, as he stared at Ning Cheng and spoke. "Do not ask me how a person with a tri-line hybrid spiritual root can cultivate to the Crucible Transformation 9th level. I do not have a definite answer. However, I can tell you that even if you have an all-element hybrid spiritual root, as long as you have the opportunity, you can still reach the peak. There were no free opportunities in the world. All opportunities were reserved for those who were prepared and ambitious, not for those who didn't even dare to think about it. Let's see if you dare to think about it." Ning Cheng certainly did not think that he would not be able to go further, His words were just deliberately pointing out that his spiritual roots were not good. At this time, after listening to Kong Pengpeng's words, he immediately thought of the purple-robed woman from the Wunian Academy, and could not help but ask, "General Kong, I heard people say that the Wunian Academy only recruits disciples with the best qualifications, and would not accept even a little bit worse. Since Cheng Yishui's aptitude isn't good, why does he need his disciple like this?" Ningqing did not have a favorable impression of the Wunian Academy. As such, he directly called out Cheng Yishui's name without even a shred of respect. Kong Pengpeng heard that Ningqing did not have even half a shred of respect for the Wunian Academy, as he chuckled and said, "Your qualifications are poor, no wonder you do not like the Wunian Academy." It was precisely because Sect Master Cheng's aptitude wasn't good that he knew how difficult it was for someone with a poor aptitude to walk further down the path of cultivation. The amount of cultivation resources and willpower required was simply astonishing. Not everyone with poor aptitude had strong willpower and incomparably deep opportunities. As the head of a faction, he chooses people with good qualifications to join the Wunian Academy, and it is understandable. Ningqing deeply agreed with Kong Pengpeng's words. If the people of an academy, each and every one of them consumed resources just like him, then this academy would not be able to exist. Just the consumption alone could cause the sect to collapse. "General Kong, is there a limit to the number of people who can enter the law's way to comprehend the heaven's way?" Ningqing guessed that Kong Pengpeng had mentioned about the heaven's way to him. It was definitely not for no reason. Kong Pengpeng spoke in a very satisfied manner. Talking to smart people is very simple. The law's way is because of the quota limit, which is the reason why the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army and the cultivator army of the 9 continents are at war. The law's way can only be entered once every 10 years, and only 1,000 people can enter at a time. There was no way for a rogue cultivator to enter. If one wanted to enter the law's way, then one would have to join an academy, or join the cultivator army. Some of the essence-building cultivators had joined the cultivator army with the sole purpose of entering the law's way. As a 6 stars commander, I can recommend a person to enter. Ningqing somewhat understood in his heart, and once again asked, "Does General Kong want to recommend me to enter the law's way?" "That's right. I can see that you only have the cultivation of essence-building realm, but you are able to kill a profound congealing cultivator. I do not ask you what kind of fortuitous encounter you had, but I also know that you are not simple. From our conversation a moment ago, I can also see that your ability to comprehend is really good. If you are willing, then I really want to recommend you to enter the law's way. Your ability is also worthy of me doing this, but..." Kong Pengpeng paused for a moment. After entering the law's way, the probability of coming out is very low, even less than 30%. Moreover, many of the cultivators who enter the law's way only have the opportunity to come out after hundreds of years. Some of them simply stay inside forever. Although I hope that you can represent me to enter the law's way. But whether you are willing or not, I will not force you. As I said before, how far your heart is, how far you can go. If you do not want to become stronger through this method, then just pretend that I did not say anything. Ningqing gave a respectful bow and said, "I am willing to enter the law's way. Since 30% of the cultivators can survive, then I must be among the people who are still alive. But there are 3 things that I would like to ask General Kong." Hearing that Ningqing was willing to enter the law's way, Kong Pengpeng said with a smile on his face, "You can speak freely. I have decided to give you the rank of a 5-star junior commander. I have a total of 4 5-star generals under me. As long as you can come out of the law's way, then you will understand how correct your decision was." "Many thanks for the generosity." Ningqing quickly thanked him. He would not be polite and say that he did not want the position of junior commander. With his military exploits, it would not be too outrageous for him to advance from 2-star to 5-star. But he did not care about this 5-star junior commander position. He simply did not intend to stay in the cultivator army for a long time. After thanking him, Ningqing said what he wanted to say. "The first thing is that General wants me to go to the law's way. There must be something that you need me to do. I ask the General to just tell me. As long as it is possible, Ningqing will definitely go all out." Kong Pengpeng was more and more appreciative of Ningqing's intelligence. That's right, if you can come out of the law's way. Then as the person who recommended you, I can get a void soul pill for you. I have been in the late stages of the soul essence realm for many years. Without a void soul pill, it would be impossible for me to attack the soul sculpting realm. This is the first point. The most important thing is that I hope that you can find the spiritual enhancement true nectar inside the law's way. I do not need much, just 3 drops would be enough. What is this thing? How come I have never heard of this kind of spiritual medicine? Ningqing asked in a puzzled manner. He had seen the Alchemy Foundation jade strips, and had also seen the various Spiritual Grass Foundation jade strips. It can be said that there were not many spiritual grasses or spiritual medicines that he did not know about. But now he actually did not know about the Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar. The Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar is strictly speaking not a spiritual medicine, but it is also classified as a spiritual medicine. Because it is simply a non-rank thing, its only function is to allow a cultivator to comprehend the laws of the Tao laws, allowing one's cultivation to be more rounded, allowing one's potential to increase. Just like how a cultivator enters the law's way. It is just that the Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar is not only suitable for cultivators below the soul essence realm, but is also useful for all cultivators. Kong Peng Peng looked at Ning Cheng with some eagerness and spoke. I have not entered the law's way. In the process of cultivation, I am always somewhat hesitant about the direction of my own Tao. If I had the Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar, then my path would definitely not be limited to the soul essence realm. The Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar is incomparably precious. Moreover, it can only be found inside the law's way. The law's way is about to open, but I have not been able to find a suitable person to enter. You are the most suitable one. If you are willing, then I would like to ask you to help me find 3 drops of Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar. This is the most important thing for me. It is even more important than the Void Soul Pill. Ningqing understood, and instead felt relieved in his heart. He was afraid that Kong Peng Peng would not have any request. If it was purely because he appreciated him, and treated him so well, then it would make him somewhat worried. I ask General to rest assured. As long as I can find the Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar inside the law's way, I will definitely be able to bring it out for General Kong. After understanding the meaning of the other party, Ningqing immediately declared his position. Kong Peng Peng laughed and said, Good, I believe you. You say, what are the other 2 requests? This was tantamount to a form of cooperation. As such, Ningqing was no longer polite. I am a soul essence cultivator from the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy surnamed Kong have some differences. I am afraid that when I go to the law's way, this guy will come looking for trouble with me. Moreover, I also have some contradictions with the Red Heaven 7-Star Academy. I even killed a few of the disciples of the Red Heaven Academy in the Angry Axe Valley. Kong Peng Peng patted his head in distress. You really can cause trouble, to provoke 2 7-Star Academies. But it does not matter, my 9 continents cultivator army is not afraid of those academies, not to mention that you are also a 5-star junior commander of the 9 continents cultivator army. As long as you are not intercepted by them alone, you do not need to pay attention to these guys. They would not dare to do anything to you. Many thanks, General. The last thing is that I have to go to the Hua continent. If the law's way is going to open in a short period of time, then I may not be able to participate. Ningqing said truthfully, letting him give up on going to the Hua continent. It was absolutely impossible. Kong Peng Peng pondered for a moment and said, You can rest assured, the law's way will only open for a year. You have a top-notch black-silver warship, so it would only take you 20 days to reach there. I will also give you a favorable wind talisman. It would allow you to drive the warship to reach the Hua continent even faster. At most in less than 10 days, you would be able to reach the Hua continent. Ningqing was overjoyed. He could not wait to immediately fly to the Hua continent. Now that it would only take them less than 10 days, for him, this was simply the best news that he had heard in recent times. Kong Peng Peng took out a talisman and handed it to Ningqing, and then took out a new set of military uniform. He engraved Zhuo Yi's name on the shoulder of the uniform, and handed it to Ningqing and said, This is your new uniform, you can change it. For the time being, you are still called Zhuo Yi, otherwise the General's communication pearl would not have your name, so as to avoid any misunderstandings. Ning Cheng took off Zhu Yi's original uniform, put it into a wooden box and put it into his storage bag. And in front of Kong Peng Peng, he put on the new uniform. The shoulder of the new uniform had been replaced with a cyan-colored one. Moreover, it was also engraved with 5 stars. Seeing Ning Cheng put away the old uniform, Kong Peng Peng nodded with satisfaction and said, "After you finish your business in the Hua continent, you must rush to the Pubu Island as soon as possible. I will be waiting for you in the Pubu Island." Ning Cheng asked in puzzlement. This time the Yixing Ocean's cultivators launched a sneak attack. Is the Pubu Island still in our hands? Kong Peng Peng spoke with disdain. These monkeys from the Yixing Ocean, not to mention that they would not be able to take down the Pubu Island. Even if they were able to take it down, they would still have to return it to our 9 continents cultivator army. You do not have to worry about this, you just have to come here. I can see that you are very rich. As such, I will not give you any spirit stones. You better hurry up and go, I have to clean up the battlefield here. Ning Cheng's face turned slightly red. He did not know whether Kong Peng Peng had seen the spirit stones that he had left on the warship, or if he knew that he had a storage ring but did not take it out. Chapter 173. Yang Honghua, I am planning to go to the Hua continent. What are your plans? Ning Cheng and Kong Peng Peng's conversation had already ended. As he was ready to leave, he had a good impression of Yang Honghua. If Yang Honghua was willing to go to the Hua continent with him, then he would not mind. Yang Honghua gave a military salute to Ning Cheng and spoke in a loud voice. I am also willing to join the Yizheng battalion and become Junior Commander Ning's personal guard. I ask for Junior Commander Ning's permission. Kong Peng Peng spoke from the side. Ning Cheng, you are already a 5-star junior commander. As such, you can take charge of such things. Ning Cheng was very appreciative of Yang Honghua's ability to control the ship and the importance of friendship. When he heard Kong Peng Peng's words, he immediately said, Then I agree to let Yang Honghua be my bodyguard, but I want to help Yang Honghua to be promoted to a 2-star second lieutenant, but I do not know how to do it. Kong Peng Peng laughed and said, You do have the authority to do so, but you are still unable to do it. So be it, I will help you with this matter first, and when the time comes, you will also do your best. Kong Peng Peng said, as he casually helped Yang Honghua change his epaulet. The epaulet changed from a red 1-star to an orange 2 stars. Yang Honghua was overjoyed and quickly thanked Ning Cheng and Kong Peng Peng. While in his heart he felt that his decision was right. It took him several years to advance from 0-star to 1-star, but now it only took him half a day to advance from 1-star to 2 stars. Ning Cheng also had a good impression of this 6-star General Kong Peng Peng. At least the opposite party spoke and did things very straightforwardly and decisively, and did not beat around the bush. After saying goodbye to Kong Peng Peng, Yang Honghua controlled the warship to change its direction, and quickly headed towards the Hua continent. Ning Cheng attached the smooth wind talisman that Kong Peng Peng had given him to the black-silver warship, causing the speed of the black-silver warship to almost double. Yang Honghua in his heart marveled at the wealth of this 5-star junior commander Ning Cheng, not to mention that he was using spirit stones to drive the black-silver warship. He even used a windward talisman. Ning Cheng handed over the control of the warship to Yang Honghua, as he returned to the cabin, and took out the ring of the Yixing Ocean's profound congealing cultivator. This profound congealing cultivator's background was not small at all. He did not know if the inside of his ring was also worth looking forward to. As it was a profound congealing cultivator's ring, Ning Cheng quickly refined it. When Ning Cheng saw the various kinds of materials piled up like a mountain, he almost could not believe that this was the ring of a profound congealing cultivator. Not to mention the piles and piles of spirit herbs, there were also piles and piles of refining materials. Compared to these things, hundreds of thousands of upper-grade spirit stones were nothing in this ring. What was this guy doing? Could he be in charge of collecting materials? Otherwise, where would he get so many materials? From the looks of it, not only did he have to learn alchemy, he also had to learn blacksmithing and talisman crafting. Otherwise, how would he deal with so many materials? After appreciating it for a while, Ning Cheng was filled with joy as he put away the ring. He did not go and look at it one by one. Now the most important thing for him was the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He must refine the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves in the shortest possible time. This kind of thing, the sooner it became his the better. Yang Honghua concentrated on controlling the warship. He rarely had the opportunity to operate this kind of top-notch black-silver warship. As such, he was even more excited than Ning Cheng to operate this kind of warship. After arranging the isolation array formation, Ning Cheng immediately threw himself into refining the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves were natural treasures. Being able to obtain them was an absolutely amazing thing. Once it was leaked out, it would cause countless people to scramble for it. Time passed by in a flash. Yang Honghua's warship along the way also encountered some Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Because the speed of the warship was too fast, the Yixing Ocean's cultivators who were close to the lower-class continents had low cultivations. As such, they did not have the time to block their path. On the 8th day, Ning Cheng, who had been holding the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. The pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves in his hands with a pale golden glow had disappeared. Ning Cheng stood up in joy. With his spiritual consciousness, he could clearly see that there were two almost invisible pale golden shadow marks on his back. A kind of feeling that he could stretch out his wings at any time welled up in his heart. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had been completely refined by him. As this thought flashed through Ning Cheng's mind, a pair of milky white wings appeared on his back. This was the pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves that he had refined. The edges of the white wings had a pale golden glow. It made Ning Cheng wish that he could immediately fly out and try out his own pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He subconsciously flapped the wings on his back, and a powerful wind swept out. It was incomparably smooth and smooth. Ning Cheng suppressed the surprise and joy in his heart. In the cruel and incomparably cruel Yixing mainland, he now had one more means. With an extra pair of wings, it would definitely give him an extra layer of protection for his small life. Ning Cheng knew that after refining the matured twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, under the nourishment of his own true essence, it would be possible for it to advance. He was very much looking forward to seeing to what extent his twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves could advance to. Putting away the twin heavenly cloud wings, Ning Cheng removed the isolation array formation. He was ready to carefully examine the two piles of materials that he had seized from the storage ring to see if there were any more precious materials. But Yang Honghua sent him a message. Ning Cheng put away the things, and had just walked out when he heard Yang Honghua, who was operating the warship, say, "Junior Commander Ning, we are already close to the Hua continent. The warship's monitoring array formation shows that the Hua continent's cultivator army and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army are fighting. Should we participate in the battle, or should we go around?" Ning Cheng was happy in his heart, since the Hua continent's cultivator army and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army were still fighting. It meant that the Hua continent was still safe and sound. Charge over. Prepare the spirit stone cannons and fire a few times to open up a path. Ning Cheng spoke out without any hesitation. Since he had met them, he must kill these people from the Yixing Ocean. Yang Honghua was waiting for Ning Cheng to say those words. Once Ning Cheng agreed, he immediately controlled the warship and directly rushed towards the battlefield. The peak-grade black-silver warship was extremely fast, and had already rushed to the periphery of the battlefield. Only then did the cultivator army, who were fighting together, notice it. Yang Honghua did not wait for these cultivator soldiers to react, as the spirit stone cannon immediately shot out a blinding white light. Boom boom boom. Yang Honghua continued to fire several times in succession, as the white light exploded and the berserk whirlpool of the spiritual source directly swallowed up the 1,000 or 2,000 cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. After firing several cannons, the black-silver warship finally arrived in front of them. Ning Cheng had already brought out his golden great axe, as he chopped out with an axe line. The berserk spirit stones had not yet completely calmed down, when a distorted golden axe line split open out of thin air. Countless Yixing Ocean's cultivators under the killing intent of the golden axe line were instantly killed. The originally stalemated battlefield immediately became restless, as the low-leveled seagoing ships and the low-leveled warships flying in the air were thrown into chaos. This kind of chaos quickly turned into a one-sided situation, as the Hua continent's cultivator army understood that there were people coming to support them, while the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army directly retreated in defeat. The scale of this battlefield could not be compared to the one that Ningcheng had participated in before, as the number of people on both sides added up to less than 10,000. Ningcheng had only used a few axe lines, coupled with the power of the spirit stone cannon. In just a short period of time, the battlefield was completely controlled by the Hua continent's cultivator army. I haven't even had enough fun yet. These Yixing Ocean's people really can't take a beating. Yang Honghua spoke in a somewhat unhappy voice. Ningcheng smiled and spoke. There is a profound core cultivator here. If not for the Hua continent side also having a profound core cultivator blocking them, perhaps that guy would have already come over. You control the warship. I will go over to help. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness was already able to see two profound core cultivators fighting in a distant place. He was able to kill them all. As such, the two profound core cultivators were able to see it. But the profound core cultivator from the Hua continent, because of Ningcheng's help, was even more imposing. While the profound core cultivator from the Yixing Ocean wanted to come over to support them, but was entangled by the profound core cultivator from the Hua continent, and was unable to leave for some time. When the profound core cultivator from the Yixing Ocean saw Ningcheng's top-notch black-silver warship coming over, he no longer dared to get entangled, and immediately wanted to escape. Ningcheng did not intend to let him go. If he was alone, he would not dare to stop a profound core cultivator. But now that he had the help of a profound core cultivator, as long as he was on the side, he would be able to stop the opposite party. After approaching the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator, Ningcheng did not even think about it, as he immediately rushed out of the warship and brought out his golden great axe. He raised his hand and immediately shot out a whirlwind. The formidable axe shadow's killing intent rolled up the surrounding killing force, directly sealing off the retreat of the profound core cultivator. The profound core cultivator who was fighting with the Yixing Ocean's cultivator instantly understood Ningcheng's thoughts, as he went all out with his true essence, and brought out his biggest killing move. The wheel in his hands brought out dozens of rings, as it sealed off the other side of the Yixing Ocean's cultivator. This Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator was originally panicking in his heart, but then he saw that Ningcheng was just an essence-building cultivator. As such, he did not hesitate to rush towards Ningcheng's side, while simultaneously bringing out his own magical weapon. Bang! The golden great axe's killing intent and the profound core cultivator's magical weapon collided, as Ningcheng was directly sent flying upside down. Fortunately, Ningcheng knew that he was not a match for the opposite party. As such, he was already prepared to retreat. Although he was sent flying far away, but he only suffered a minor injury. This Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator was attacked by the powerful killing intent from the angry axe whirlpool, and was forced to retreat a few steps. He was still secretly shocked in his heart. Ningcheng was just an essence-building cultivator, but unexpectedly had such a powerful true essence, and was even able to grasp such a powerful axe intent, but he forgot that there was still a profound core cultivator behind him. Dozens of rings directly wrapped around the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator. As a bloody mist sprayed out, a profound core cultivator was killed by Ningcheng and the other profound core cultivator. That profound core cultivator very skillfully put away his ring, as he arrived in front of Ningcheng's black-silver warship and cupped his fists and spoke. Hua Continent's Falling Star Academy's Man Rang greets Junior Commander Zhua. Many thanks to Junior Commander Zhua for your timely rescue. Man Rang was not completely a person from the cultivator army. He was from the Falling Star Academy. But when the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army invaded the Hua Continent, he would always participate. Moreover, he was also the leader. So although he was not part of the Hua Continent's army, but he was still a 4-star marquis. But Man Rang's cultivation was higher than Ningcheng. As such, he cupped his fists in gratitude towards Ningcheng, mainly because Ningcheng had helped him. As for his military rank being a level lower than Ningcheng, this place was not a military camp, so he did not care. But in his heart he found it strange. Ningcheng was already a 5-star junior commander at such a young age. Chapter 174. Ningcheng was in a good mood. Since the Falling Star Academy was here, then it meant that the rest of the academies would not have any problems. He smiled and said, I seem to have heard about you from Meng Yujing of the Falling Star Academy. You should be Dean Man of the Falling Star Academy, right? When Ning Cheng had followed Meng Yujing, he had heard of the name Dean Man. Presumably, this person in front of him was Man Rang. You know Meng Yujing, that's great. Yes, I am the Deputy Dean of the Falling Star Academy. Have you ever been to the Hua continent? When Man Rang heard Ning Cheng say that he knew him, and also knew Meng Yujing, he immediately felt a lot more cordial. I originally came from the Hua continent to the Angry Axe Valley. My real name is not Zhuo Yi, but rather Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng said with a smile. He knew Meng Yujing, but it was not a friendly acquaintance. At this time, he deliberately mentioned Meng Yujing's name, just to get closer to Man Rang, and then inquire about some news. When Man Rang heard the name Ning Cheng, he was immediately shocked and asked, Are you the Ning Cheng who took the first place in the tournament of the 5-star academies? Godwind Academy's Ning Cheng? Are you pretending to be someone else's military officer? Although Man Rang had never seen Ning Cheng in person, but he was not unfamiliar with the name Ning Cheng. When he heard that Ning Cheng was pretending to be someone else's name, his complexion immediately changed. In the cultivator army of the 9 continents, publicly impersonating someone else's military position was a serious crime. Yang Honghua quickly spoke up. Junior Commander Ning was directly appointed by Commander Kong. Because of the urgency of the Yixing Oceans War, he temporarily used 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo's military position. Commander Kong is aware of it. Moreover, he directly promoted the 2nd Lieutenant's military position to Junior Commander. Dean Man does not have to worry about it. I see. Manjin heaved a sigh of relief. Ning Cheng took the opportunity to speak. Dean Man, you know that I am from the Godwind Academy, and this time I came here to return to the Godwind Academy. It is really thanks to Dean Xieman who brought the Hua Continent's cultivator army here to block the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. If these Yixing Ocean's cultivator army were to enter the Hua Continent, then... Speaking till here, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped himself. He felt that Man Rang's expression was not right. Unexpectedly there was a look of grief and indignation. Ning Cheng quickly asked, Dean Man, did something happen in the Hua Continent? Alas, the Hua Continent had already been occupied by the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean a few days ago. None of the great true countries were spared. Those beasts from the Yixing Ocean burned, killed and looted everywhere, while indulging the monstrous beasts to devour the ordinary people. What? Ning Cheng did not wait for Man Rang to finish, as his complexion turned ashen. If the Hua Continent was occupied by the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean, then where could Luofei go? What about an E from the Falling Star Academy? Ning Cheng's tone was no longer as calm as it was a moment ago, as he asked in a cold voice, since the Hua Continent has already been occupied by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators, then why is Dean Man still leading the cultivator army here to entangle with the Yixing Ocean's cultivators? The Hua Continent's 5-star academies, as well as some of the 4-star academies, have many intersect disciples. These are the future of the Hua Continent. I led the army in order to bring up the rear, and prepare to send these outstanding disciples to the intermediate-level continents. Yes, our academy also has a person called an E, you know her. She was also sent away. Man Rang said with a sigh. But after saying that, his eyes were somewhat eager as he stared at Ning Cheng's black-silver warship and spoke. Junior Commander Ning, I can see that your axe intent is very powerful. If you can coordinate it with this black-silver warship, then together with the cultivator army on my side, we might be able to drive away the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. Chase him away. I will not let a single one of them escape. Ning Cheng's tone was filled with a strong killing intent, causing Man Rang to feel a trace of shock. Although this Ning Cheng's cultivation level was not high, but his understanding of killing intent was something that even he himself was far inferior to. Junior Commander Ning, as long as you are willing to fight, I am very willing to cooperate with you in the fight. Now there are many cultivators in the Hua Continent who have united together, and are fighting against the monstrous beasts and cultivators from the Yixing Ocean, but they are not unified yet. Once they are unified, then they would definitely be a formidable force in the Hua Continent. Moreover, they did not think that I would be able to return unscathed. Man Rang was also aroused by Ning Cheng's powerful killing intent. Or perhaps he was thinking about the beastly behavior of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Ning Cheng clenched his fists. His anger almost made him squeeze the air out of his hand. Dean Man, I want to know if the inner sect disciples of the Godwind Academy were also sent out? Godwind Academy? Man Rang immediately understood. Ning Cheng was from the Godwind Academy. Moreover, he seemed to have a fiancé called Ji Luofei who was also from the Godwind Academy. Ning Cheng was angry because he thought that the Godwind Academy was destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. As such, he was definitely worried about his fiancé. Man Rang spoke. The Godwind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Rather, it was destroyed half a year ago. Even now it is still a mystery. When something happened to the Godwind Academy, I deliberately went to take a look. The Godwind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators? Was it destroyed half a year ago? Ning Cheng stared at Man Rang with wide eyes. Who was it that destroyed the Godwind Academy half a year ago? Do you have a fiancé called Ji Luofei in the Godwind Academy? Man Rang asked. Ning Cheng forcibly calmed down his anger, as he nodded and said, Yes, my fiancé Ji Luofei is in the Godwind Academy. I came back this time to pick up Luofei and leave this place. Dean Man, you went to the Godwind Academy to take a look. Don't tell me you don't have any clue? Man Rang pondered for a moment and said, To say that I don't have any clue, that is not true, but I will not say it. If you are worried about your fiancé Ji Luofei, then you do not need to. You have a friend who took away your fiancé. 2 profound core cultivators joined forces to deal with your friend, but your friend easily cut off the arms of those 2 profound core cultivators. Your friend does not seem to like killing, and did not kill anyone. So even though the Godwind Academy was destroyed, there were still many disciples of the Godwind Academy that were not killed. If you go to the Hua continent now, maybe you can find the disciples of the Godwind Academy. Hearing that Ji Luofei was all right, Ning Cheng was relieved, but he really could not remember that he had such a friend. Seeing Ning Cheng thinking hard but could not remember, Man Rang once again spoke. That person was a white-haired old woman. She said that she was your friend, and told the people who attacked the Godwind Academy to get lost. Although the people who attacked the Godwind Academy were forced to retreat by her, but many of the experts of the Godwind Academy had already died, the rest of the people dispersed, while your fiancé was taken away by your friend. It turned out to be a white-haired old woman. Ning Cheng really did not think that this white-haired old woman would help him. Although he and this white-haired old woman were not friends, but he had helped the other party a bit, so it could be assumed that the other party had helped him because of their relationship. Many thanks to Dean Man, Ning Cheng felt relieved in his heart, as he gave a grateful bow to Man Rang. For Ning Cheng, as long as Ji Luofei was safe, as for who destroyed the Godwind Academy, he believed that sooner or later he would be able to find out. Even if he did not look for it, Song Shua would definitely come back to look for it. Even if he knew that Ji Luofei had been taken away by the white-haired old woman, Ning Cheng still intended to go to the Godwind Academy to have a look. Man Rang quickly organized the Hua continent's cultivator army, and also followed Ning Cheng to the Hua continent. Because Man Rang was following them, Ning Cheng could only let Yang Honghua slow down. They were already at the edge of the Hua continent, and now in just half a day, they had already set foot on the territory of the Hua continent. The reason why Ning Cheng cared about the Hua continent was entirely because of Ji Luofei. Now that Ji Luofei had left, and he also came to know that the Godwind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, Ning Cheng did not have that kind of angry mood from before. In contrast, he came from Earth. As such, his sense of belonging to the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland was not very strong. But when Ning Cheng once again set foot on the Hua continent, the anger in his chest once again ignited. Wherever he went, there was not a single intact building. Almost all the villages and cities were completely destroyed. Everywhere was covered with bones, broken limbs, and even some of the monstrous beasts from the Yixing Ocean were devouring the ordinary people. From time to time one could see a small group of Yixing Ocean's cultivator army chasing after the low-leveled martial artists and cultivators of the Hua continent. As for the ordinary people, they had already been killed. These Yixing Ocean's cultivators apparently knew that they would not stay in the Hua continent for a long time. As such, they were killing and destroying everywhere. When Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept towards a Yixing Ocean's cultivator directing a monstrous beast to swallow a few years old child, he turned to Man Rang, who was on the warship, and spoke. Dean Man, I have decided that all the cultivator army and monstrous beasts that entered the Yixing Ocean will not be left alive. I will be in the front, while you take the army and follow behind. At the same time, gather the scattered troops of the Hua continent's cultivator army. If we meet a profound core cultivator, then I ask Dean Man to lend me a helping hand. Ning Cheng decided not to let the Yixing Ocean's cultivators leave. He was also aware of his own abilities. Once he met a profound core cultivator, he was not their opponent at present. Man Rang was the best assistant. As long as Man Rang could force the other party, then he could then join forces with Man Rang to kill the profound core cultivator. Man Rang had long wanted to fight back, but his strength was limited, and was entangled by the other party in the Yixing Ocean. He was afraid that Ning Cheng would not help him. Now that Ning Cheng wanted to help him, how could he refuse, and quickly spoke up. Many thanks to Junior Commander Ning for your help. I had long wanted to teach this group of sea monkeys a lesson, but my strength was not enough. Now that I have Junior Commander Ning's help, I am a lot more confident. They do not have many profound core cultivators in the Hua continent. At most they have 2. Before there was a big battle, both sides suffered a lot of losses. The profound core cultivators were almost mutually wounded. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was lower than Man Rang's, but he had the spirit stone cannon. Moreover, his axe line was a group killing axe intent. As long as there was no profound core cultivator to interfere with him, he and Yang Honghua would simply be able to destroy them. At this time, the Yixing Ocean's cultivators had already taken control of the Hua continent. As such, there was simply no problem of them entangling with each other. Regarding the dozens or hundreds of Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts that had gathered together, Ning Cheng simply did not need to use his hands, as Yang Honghua's spirit stone cannon would immediately bombard them, and would directly exterminate them. Only when there were a few cultivators who managed to escape, would Ning Cheng occasionally bring out 1 or 2 axe lines. Before Ning Cheng came here, the largest cultivator army in the Hua continent was under Man Rang's command. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators knew that they would not be able to stay in the Hua continent for long, so after entangling Man Rang, they immediately rushed to the Hua continent to loot it. Therefore they did not occupy the cities, but rather burned, killed and looted to their heart's content, destroying everything in their path. But they did not expect that Ning Cheng's arrival would actually rescue Man Rang. Against these scattered soldiers who were burning, killing and looting everywhere, Ning Cheng and the Black Silver warship were able to easily deal with them. Later on, when Ning Cheng made his move, Man Rang would immediately seal off the surrounding area, not allowing a person or a monstrous beast to escape. Chapter 175. After the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army entered the Hua continent, they were in a state of disunity. It was just that the Hua continent's cultivators were not able to organize an effective counterattack. Now that Ning Cheng and Man Rang organized a counterattack, it immediately formed a snowball effect. Other than letting Yang Honghua fire a few cannons at the beginning, Ning Cheng did not use the spirit stone cannons at all. With this kind of advantage, there was simply no need to use the spirit stone cannons, as each time they would be able to kill a small number of cultivators and monstrous beasts from the Yixing Ocean. While the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean were constantly being exterminated, the number of cultivators from the Hua continent's cultivator army was constantly increasing. Compared to the Yixing Ocean's cultivators who were scattered like sand, after Man Rang annihilated the Yixing Ocean's cultivators, he immediately organized the Hua continent's cultivators to re-establish a base, and then gathered the scattered people in all directions. In just a short span of 4 days, Ning Cheng and Man Rang had already collected nearly 1/5 of the territories. On the 5th day, Ning Cheng and Man Rang's Hua continent's cultivator army had already gathered nearly 100,000 people when they finally met their biggest resistance. The Moze city was the location of the Falling Star 5-Star Academy, and was also the territory of the Shui clan. and was also one of the largest cultivation cities in the Hua continent. However, this place had now become the lair of the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, with tens of thousands of Yixing Ocean's cultivators gathered here. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators did not immediately destroy this place. It was estimated that they wanted to create a city for them to live in. When Ningcheng saw that there were 7 profound core cultivators, there were also dozens of profound congealing cultivators, and even more essence-building cultivators, in addition to the 50 to 60,000 Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, he knew that if he could completely kill all the Hua continent's Yixing Ocean's cultivators, then he would have to fight in the Moze city. If this battle was not fought well, then even the Hua continent's cultivator army would be completely annihilated. Although Ningcheng and Man Rang had gathered the Hua continent's cultivator army, they only had 3 profound core cultivators, Man Rang and the rogue cultivator Qi Xiuya, as well as the Clear Sky 5-star Academy's Jingji. As for the profound congealing cultivators, they only had a dozen or so people. In addition to the fact that the number of cultivators in the army was much higher than that of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators, their overall strength was definitely not as good as that of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Junior Commander Ning, do you think we can take down the Moze city? Jingji was very polite to Ningcheng, not because Ningcheng was a 5-star junior commander, but because Ningcheng's strength along the way had already won his respect. Man Rang and the other profound core rogue cultivator, Qi Xiuya, were also looking at Ningcheng expectantly. With Ningcheng joining them, it would be incomparably easy for them. The main reason, in addition to Ningcheng's spirit stone cannon, was because of Ningcheng's formidable group killing axe intent. Although there were many profound core cultivators from the Hua continent from the Yixing Ocean, but they did not have a black-silver warship or a spirit stone cannon like Ningcheng. Therefore, Ningcheng's black-silver warship, along with the spirit stone cannon on the warship, became the only long-range attack weapon on the battlefield. Ningcheng had not thought that the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army in the Moze city would have such a great strength. With this kind of strength, if they wanted to destroy the entire Hua continent, it would indeed be effortless. Ningcheng thought for a while and then said, "The Moze city's Yixing Ocean's cultivator army is definitely much stronger than us. The reason why they have not come out until now is because they are still not clear about our strength. Or rather, they are scattered like sand, each fighting their own battles, and do not even have the most basic means of intelligence gathering. Plus we have been sweeping them all the way here, so by the time they get the news that we have arrived, we would have already arrived outside the Moze city. More importantly, they certainly do not know that we have a spirit stone cannon. If they knew that we have a spirit stone cannon, they would definitely come out immediately, rather than taking advantage of the Moze city's geographical advantage." The 3 profound core cultivators, and some of the profound congealing cultivators were also deeply convinced. The Moze city's Yixing Ocean's cultivators had not yet figured out the strength of their side. Once they figured out the real situation of the Hua continent's cultivator army, especially when they knew that Ningcheng had a spirit stone cannon, then they would definitely rush out with a thunderous, imposing manner. Although the Hua continent's side had a lot of people, but their profound core cultivators were far inferior to the opposite side. In this kind of war between the cultivator armies, the number of people was not the main factor of strength, but rather a high cultivation level was the main determinant of strength. My idea is, as long as we kill the other party's profound core cultivator, we can then surround the Moze city, and use the spirit stone cannon to wipe out the Moze city's Yixing Ocean's cultivators in one fell swoop. Ningcheng was not bragging. He would arrange layers upon layers of defensive array formations to protect the black-silver warship. As long as there were no profound core cultivators, for those profound congealing cultivators to break through his level 3 array formation, they would need at least some time. At this time, his spirit stone cannon would be able to fully display its might. Man Rang gave a wry smile and spoke, "We only have 3 profound core cultivators, while the other party has 7 people. More than double our numbers. How are we going to kill them? Currently they do not know our strength, but once they know, they will immediately rush out. It is them who will kill us, not us who will kill them." Ningcheng suddenly spoke up. "I am thinking of this. Dean Man and I will work together to deal with one of the profound core cultivators." Jingji and Qi Xiuya, The two of you will each deal with 3 of them. After we kill the profound core cultivator, we will then come and help." As Ning Cheng finished speaking, Jingji and Qi Xiuya's complexion turned ugly. Letting each of them deal with 3 profound core cultivators, it would simply be suicide. They would not even be able to last for more than a dozen breaths. Man Rang immediately spoke up. "This is absolutely not possible." Ning Cheng waved his hand to stop Man Rang's words. "I think the 3 of you might have misunderstood my meaning. I intend to arrange a hidden serial killing array. The 4 of us will be inside the array formation. Jingji and Qi Xiuya will use the array formation to contain the remaining 6 people, while Man Rang and I will take the opportunity to kill them one by one. Of course, the premise is that the other party does not have an array formation master that far surpasses me. If the other party has a top-level array formation master, then my method may not necessarily work." "You are also an array formation master?" Man Rang asked in amazement. "I can only arrange a level 3 array formation," Ning Cheng honestly replied. Man Rang, on hearing Ning Cheng say that he was only a level 3 array formation master, spoke up with some disappointment. A level 3 array formation can indeed block a profound core cultivator, who does not understand array formations for a few breaths of time. But if you want to use this array formation to kill 7 profound core cultivators, it is simply not realistic. Jingji and Qi Xiuya also shook their heads, indicating that Ning Cheng's idea was unrealistic. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and said, "My array formation is different from the others. My array formation is something that even an ordinary array formation master would not necessarily be able to understand. Of course, the other party is an array formation master, and would certainly be able to find the array heart very quickly. But my array formation is also different from the others. That is, my array formation can be arranged in a cycle, which is the hidden serial killing array that I mentioned a moment ago." Ning Cheng had only learnt the basics of array formations from an E, but after he was enlightened about the mysterious yellow origin, and was able to comprehend the mysterious yellow formless, his array formations and the inherited array formations were already completely different. Because of this, the killing intent restriction of the ancient immortal mansion in the Angry Axe Valley was completely useless against him. But the thoughts of the other people were different. Ning Cheng believed that as long as the 7 profound core cultivators could enter his hidden serial killing array, then his plan would be half successful. Although the array formation that he had arranged was a level 3 killing array, but it was able to integrate the killing intent restriction of the ancient immortal mansion in the Angry Axe Valley. Even if it was a profound core cultivator, within a dozen breaths of time, it would be very difficult to break it. Whether his method would be successful or not mainly depended on the first dozen breaths of time. He and Man Rang would be able to kill a few profound core cultivators. If even one of them could not be killed, then he would still fail. His array formation circulation was only a level 3 circulation array. If the 7 profound core cultivators joined forces, then the level 3 circulation array formation would soon be broken. If they could kill one of them, then they would be able to entangle the other one, which would extend the time needed to break the array formation. For Ning Cheng, in the first dozen breaths of time, the more profound core cultivators he and Man Rang killed, the higher the success rate would be. What he was worried about was that these profound core cultivators had top-level array formation masters. If they did not enter his hidden serial killing array, then even if he had more methods, it would be useless. Hearing Ning Cheng's explanation, Man Rang and the other 2 people were silent. Even if what Ning Cheng said was the truth, but it was only a level 3 array formation. The deterrence of a level 3 array formation to a profound core cultivator was simply too insignificant. It could even be said that it was almost non-existent. Ning Cheng, seeing the 3 people remain silent, once again spoke up. "After this war, I will leave the Hua continent. The reason why I acted was entirely because I was angry at the actions of these Yixing Ocean's cultivators. If the 3 of you do not agree with my method, then I will also understand. Then I think that we do not need to continue to besiege the city here. Besieging the city does not have any meaning." Qi Xiuya was the first to speak up. "I agree, my opportunity is in the Hua continent, now that the Hua continent is being ravaged like this. So what if I give my life to the Hua continent? Even if countless of the Hua continent's cultivators and soldiers fall, I, Qi Xiuyao, will not die. Hearing Qi Xiuyao agree with Ning Cheng's opinion, Man Rang also spoke up in a solemn voice. Junior Commander Ning, Moze City is my route. I have always lived in this Moze City. But now that those beasts from the Yixing Ocean have occupied this Moze City, it would be meaningless for me, Man Rang, to continue to live. If I die, then I die. Why would I care about my little life? Jingji laughed. I, Jingji, am not a person who is afraid of death, Junior Commander Ning. If you are able to escape in the future, remember to burn a few pieces of paper for this, Jingji. Ning Cheng gave a smile and said, I cherish my life very much. How can I casually talk about dying? You can rest assured, there are two main points to my plan. First, it is necessary to let the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivators enter my hidden serial killing array. If they do not come in, then my plan will fail. Second, and also the most important point, is that we have to kill a profound core cultivator in the first 10 breaths. Otherwise there is a possibility that this plan will fail. Killing a profound core cultivator in 10 breaths. I'm afraid that it would be a bit difficult. Man Rang and Ning Cheng had joined hands to kill a profound core cultivator, but that profound core cultivator had already been fighting with him for a long time. Moreover, that person had also underestimated Ning Cheng, which was why the two of them were able to successfully attack him. Jingji also spoke up. Junior Commander Ning, regardless of whether your plan is successful or not, wouldn't it be very difficult to stimulate those profound core cultivators to come out? If they come out, and not all of them enter the array, wouldn't that mean that the plan would fail? Ning Cheng spoke with confidence. You do not have to worry about these things. In the hidden serial killing array, me and Dean Man can join hands. Killing a profound core cultivator in 10 breaths would not be difficult. As for letting those profound core cultivators come out, it would be even simpler. If they did not enter the array together, then our cultivator army would suffer a lot of losses, but it would not fail. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.